That year's gonna. I'm telling you, that's gonna be a repeat of 2014.
You really think it's gonna be that bad?
Yes, I think it's gonna be that bad.
Okay. I'm gonna take a look at see how our stream is doing from my phone, and if all is.
Is Sherrod Brown up for re-election too?
No, that is 2024, which is actually probably worse because it's a presidential year. All right, we're live.
I think chances of Sherrod Brown winning are like 1 in 10.
Imagine what Joe Manchin is up against. That dude is screwed.
The fact that he won in 2018 shocked me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was expecting him to win beforehand, but considering, like, Joe Donnelly went down, Claire McCaskill went down, all of them went down. You know,
Joe Donnelly, I forgot about him. What states did he represent again?
Who?
Joe
Donnelly. Indiana. Also, I can hear myself. Someone is...
I entirely forgot about him.
Producing an echo.
Alright, let's start.
We are started.
The stream started?
Yes, it has. We have...
What do we have?
1 like. Yeah. Hello, Zach.
Oh, nice. Shout out to Mike.
Yeah.
Hang on a second. I gotta find your YouTube channel again. Hold up. What is it called?
Parish for Life, space 1-2.
Oh, Zach Schwartz just texted me, said, I see you.
Yes. Alright, Anton, just a note, you're producing a tiny bit of an echo right now.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No worries. It's just I can hear myself saying what I'm saying, like a second after, you know.
Yeah. Honestly, you can have an echo too, James.
Oh, then maybe it is me. Never mind.
Hang on, can you drop the link in the thing to your channel?
Yeah, I can.
It's Pairs for Life, space 12.
Oh, it's the same thing as... Okay.
It's the same as always.
They changed the format, and I really can't say that I love it.
Yeah, it just showed up when I typed... Never mind, it didn't show up. Filter...
It's the same as the username you see on the Google Meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Alright, if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to run over my race ratings real quick, and then we can move on to the interesting stuff.
Got it.
So basically, I've rated all 3 Georgia races, the Senate General, the Senate Special, and the Public Service Commission runoff. All of those are rated as toss-ups, well, for obvious reasons, right?
Yeah.
Upwards of, I believe, $800 million have been spent in Georgia on these 2 Senate runoffs. So, you know, a lot of money. Looking forward to 2021, we have 2 governor's races, Virginia and New Jersey. New Jersey is a solid blue state. Phil Murphy's pretty popular, so we give that a solid Democratic rating. Virginia is fairly solid, although if somehow Terry McAuliffe does not win the primary, that could get interesting, so we're leaving it at likely Democrat for now. Due to the Biden administration appointing a bunch of people from the House to cabinet positions, we have quite a few special elections, the first of which is in New Mexico's first, where Deb Haaland was appointed to be Secretary of Interior. That is likely Democratic, just because it's not quite as blue as some of the other seats that are up, and in a special election, you know, strange things can happen. Meanwhile, Ohio's 11th and Louisiana's 2nd are both solid Democratic. You know, it would have to take some sort of crazy circumstance to flip these seats. Meanwhile, Congressman Luke Letlow, or rather Congressman-elect Luke Letlow, unfortunately died of COVID, and so his seat will be vacant going into the new Congress. We rate the special election as solid Republican, because actually this is the case in both Louisiana seats. Louisiana's 5th, it's possible no Democrats will even bother running. Same thing with Louisiana's 2nd, but it's no Republicans would bother running. New York City, the mayoral race, there's really no one the GOP can throw up that will have any chance, so we give that a solid Democratic rating. Finally, Westchester County Executive, we have likely Democratic. And we can...
Westchester County Executive.
Yeah, George Latimer. I remember way back when, I was actually pretty surprised that he won against Astorino.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But he won by like 14 points, if you remember. That was...
He won by 14?
Yeah.
I just remember hearing that he won and being a little bit surprised.
Oh, yeah, no, he destroyed Astorino, which, you know, I'm all for that, but I was like, wow,
Yeah.
because
All right. So you want to start talking about the Georgia Senate races?
I would love to.
Yep.
So, who would like to start? Actually, I'll let one of you guys lead the discourse for now.
All right. I'll start us off.
Great.
Well, we have the Georgia Senate runoffs. On the one hand, we have David Perdue running for the Republican Party and John Ossoff in the Democratic Party for the state Senate election. And meanwhile, we also have Kelly Loeffler for the Republicans and Raphael Warnock for the Democrats. These are two very important seats for both parties because if just one of the Republicans wins, then the Republicans have the Senate majority. But if they both lose, then this will be a very important step for the Democrats because, as we all know, if the Senate, the House, and the presidency are all blue, that means the Democrats are going to be, and the Biden administration are going to be able to get a lot more done than they would if the Republicans continue the majority.
Yeah, and especially with how much the Democrats, their House majority shrank by 11 seats in 2020. Pretty much every incumbent, with a couple of exceptions, underperformed Biden. Even swing district ones, like for example, Biden actually won Connor Lamb's district by more than Connor Lamb did, and this is after he beat an incumbent 2 years ago. Now 3 years ago by 13 points. 13. That's pretty crazy.
A huge difference.
Yeah.
Pretty bizarre.
What's your name? Abigail Spanberger is another example of that.
Abigail Spanberger, she lost. Abby Finkenauer.
No, she won. Finkenauer lost. Spanberger won.
Yes.
Because
Spanberger won in Virginia, and Finkenauer lost in Iowa. But I think we're talking about the Georgia Senate race. The Democrats do have reason to be hopeful, as African American turnout so far has gone up from what happened in the presidential election.
Yeah.
And African Americans, while they don't vote as a bloc, they're widely seen to vote overwhelmingly Democrat. Similar to how Democrats viewed the Hispanic vote prior to the 2020 election, which they're obviously wrong about. That might have been their greatest mistake, was assuming that Hispanics would vote as a bloc for them. And Trump exploited that very well. It didn't help him in the end, but he exploited that. However, they don't really entirely have to worry about that with African Americans.
Yeah.
As the Democrats have appealed to them. They've been their party for decades now, ever since Roosevelt came into office and reversed the ways of Wilson, who was the last true segregationist. Not just segregationist.
And he was extraordinarily racist. He screamed the birth of a nation at the White House.
Categorically, stereotypically racist Democrat of the Civil War era. He was the last one of those. So ever since then, with Roosevelt's reforms, military reforms, giving African Americans greater rights in the military, civil reforms, giving them better jobs in the workplace during World War II, reforms during the Great Depression, Social Security, all of that. And then the Civil Rights Movement, which was opposed by Republicans but encouraged by Democrats, that's where the party switch generally happens. So now Democrats have this very loyal bloc where turnout has gone up, which is something that I would be very proud of. And if I was the incoming Biden administration, if I was Stacey Abrams, if I were John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock, and I say Raphael Warnock especially drove this because he is African American.
Yeah.
And he's also a reverend, which is even better. And one thing I have to give props to the Democrats on is that they chose very strong candidates. John Ossoff, an anti-corruption advocate who ran and nearly defeated a Republican incumbent in a solid red district.
She was not an incumbent, just a note. It was a special election, and since House incumbents don't get appointed by the governor, it was technically an open seat.
But it was a Republican incumbent. It was a solid red district.
Oh yeah, no, it was a red seat. The guy I believe it was Tom Price, had won by 20-something points. It was nuts.
And then he closed that gap to within just one step.
Yeah.
He was so close. I think that the problem with Republicans is that they have very bad candidates with very exploitable problems.
Yeah.
And every single thing that they try and throw at the Democrats isn't really going to appeal to moderate voters. I'd say David Perdue trying to appeal to voters about John Ossoff's quote-unquote China problem might have worked for a few people, but it came off as very weak and like it didn't have much backing towards it. Meanwhile, his refusal to go and debate John Ossoff was brilliantly. Chicken Purdue. Like, the entire nation has heard of Chicken Purdue and looting Loeffler. These two slogans that were permeated into the minds of Georgia through this juggernaut of a Democratic campaign with hundreds of millions of dollars of funding going into these two candidates.
One thing. Oh, sorry, Anton. You can go first.
I definitely agree with what Ian was saying. These are two very strong candidates we have here, and with everything and with everyone's eyes fixated on Georgia, with how important this Senate race is to the incoming administration, and honestly, just like for the next 4 years, I feel like this is going to. The Democrats have almost all of the odds possible in their favor.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying it's guaranteed. It's definitely not, but it does look unusually good for them.
Yeah, one thing I'm gonna add is that Ian.
I'm sorry. Do you want to
go? Sure. I'll make it quick. So basically, we talked about how Raphael Warnock is a good candidate. There were actually some really severe doubts at first. It looked like Democrats would actually get cut off from the runoff because Doug Collins, who was Loeffler's Republican challenger, and Kelly Loeffler herself, it would be those two who made the runoff, two Republicans. Obviously, it did not happen. Warnock got a slew of endorsements from figures like former President Barack Obama, lots of Democratic Party insiders, and basically was able to consolidate a large portion of the Democratic voting bloc around him. Obviously, that didn't happen entirely because he only got 32% of the vote, which is about like 3/4 of the total Democratic vote in the special election, the jungle primary. And the big question tonight is going to be what happens in rural Georgia, but not like rural Georgia, like just 99% white communities. I'm talking the southern Georgia communities that are often minority majority. If Democrats hope to do well in Georgia and win by a at all substantial margin, they're going to have to do very well in that region. The single county that flipped from 2016 into 2020 was actually flipped by Donald Trump. It was a Clinton county that voted for Trump, and it was one of these rural counties with a large African-American population. And it's because despite all the very significant efforts of figures like Stacey Abrams in the state, they had trouble turning these voters out. So one county that I believe reports pretty early county, Trump won it by like 5 points or 3 points or something. I want to look at that. Because if Raphael Warnock and John Ossoff are leading in that county, that's going to be an indicator that it's going to be a pretty good night for them. And Ian.
Well, you see, my main thing with saying all the indicators are going for the Democrats is that's not necessarily true.
Yeah. I didn't say all indicators. I said
you said it looks like if things go well, it's going to be a very good night for the Democrats. However, I actually believe that despite the brilliant campaign run by Ossoff and Warnock, despite the hundreds of millions of dollars pumped into TV ads and into this campaign, despite the overwhelming turnout, I think that both Ossoff and Warnock are going to lose by similar margins to what Trump lost by.
I agree. I think it's going to be within a percentage point, but both Loeffler and Purdue will emerge victorious. Simply because runoffs were created, the sole purpose of them was to limit the black vote. It is a Jim Crow era policy.
Yeah.
And so I think, unfortunately, that they will be effective enough in that sort of standpoint. The only thing that's really shaking things up, I think, in this runoff is the possible voter turnout problems. We don't even know if they're happening or not, because in Republican rural Georgia, some people are saying no one's voting at all. Some people saying it's 125% turnout from 2020. There's so many conflicting messages, and I think if Republican voters actually do not turn out because of President Trump's whole "it's all rigged," and people think, why vote anyway? I think that's the one thing that could shake it up. Sorry, Anton.
Yeah. There's just one thing that I'd like to say in defense of my hot take. It's that it's like I don't think necessarily that the Democrats are going to pull this off. I don't keep in mind we're still looking at a very solid very solid red state in terms of Senate. And keep in mind that despite all the stuff that's going on, you guys are right. There is a very small chance that they'll be able to pull this off. I'm just saying that, unlike in most years, I feel like there might be something of a chance.
I do agree. I think it is very possible that Ossoff and Warnock win. My gut tells me that Loeffler and Perdue are going to pull it off. But if you see Ossoff and Warnock winning, I would not be surprised. This race is a toss-up. I rated it as a toss-up for a reason. It's because you could flip a coin and have about as much accuracy of guessing this race as us saying, oh, well, I think it will be this person. I think it will be this person. Look, there are a lot of conflicting signs here. There are reports of very high turnout in DeKalb County and low turnout in most rural Republican counties. But then you look at the CNN exit polls, and if I remember correctly, it's the breakdown is 39% Republicans, 34% Democrats, and the rest are independents. And the independent vote, according to exit polls, Biden won it. But I guess the question then would be, by how much are these two candidates going to win the independent vote?
Well, the question I'd say is, do they even win the independent vote at all?
Well, if they don't, then they're getting crushed. I mean,
listen, if it's independent vote that we're worried about, then John Ossoff would probably have the best chance of winning the independent vote. He has an anti-corruption history. He's extremely well versed. He's young. He's appealed very well to independent and moderate voters through his messaging. So I'd say if any people are going to win the independent vote, John Ossoff is probably going to win it by more. However, if anyone's going to turn out the black vote, the African-American vote, that's going to be Warnock. And we just need to see, can they do that by enough? The entire question tonight for Ossoff and Warnock is, can they turn out the black vote in a large percentage? Can they turn them out for them? And also, do they hold on to that independent vote that Biden won?
Yeah.
If they hold on to it, they win.
I would agree. So since we've sort of exhausted the discourse on Georgia for now without it getting old, because we are going to have to talk about this later, I'd like to move on to another topic that Ian, you are no doubt familiar with, the Virginia governor's race. That's going to be interesting. There's a Democratic primary, which is, I believe, 5-way now, with Lee Carter jumping in. There's a fracture on the moderate wing, and then there's another fracture on the progressive wing, and there's Jennifer McClellan. No one really knows what she actually stands for. So what's your take on this? What do you think is the outlook ahead of 2021?
Honestly, at this point, Terry McAuliffe, he's probably going to win it. And I'd say that anyone who wins the Democratic Party, at this point, Virginia has become one of those states where if you win the primary for the Democrats, you will win the gubernatorial race because of the suburban educated vote that's now going overwhelmingly Democrat. It never used to do that, but it does now.
Yeah.
So I say whoever wins the primary wins the race, but we have to figure out who wins the primary. And Terry McAuliffe, he's a moderate. That's how Ralph Northam won his primary. He portrayed himself as a moderate. The problem is, no one really likes Ralph Northam. He's kind of become one of those... He's kind of become the Bill de Blasio of Virginia.
A political boogeyman, if you will.
He's a political boogeyman. Blackface, Charlottesville. He pissed off the Republicans very early on with his gun control policy. I mean, I saw some Republicans from rural Virginia prior to the election predicting that Virginia would go red because of that. I don't know what they were thinking.
Yeah, that did not materialize at all.
That did not even close. Some Republicans were saying that that Oregon was a red state because they had the most land that voted for them, and that was a tough one to look in the comments. But
yeah, but by that definition, Alaska would be a blue state because a lot of the
exactly,
areas, the
Alaska
precincts with large
blue
landmass vote for Democrats.
Actually, a person who responded said that exact same thing. But this entire contest, Terry McAuliffe, he left in 2018. He is the former governor, and so that puts him in a very good spot. It's like 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, I think the only realistic shot Republicans have is either if Jennifer Carroll Foy gets it, and then Kirk Cox gets it, because while he's like he's not the best candidate. He is the best candidate of the ones Republicans currently have, because like Amanda Chase is bonkers. I don't even know
It
who
would
the other
surprise
ones
me
are.
if Donald Trump ran for governor in Virginia.
Oh God.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But I mean, he's got his Trump golf club, so he might think that he might want to lower taxes on his golf club. You never know.
Oh yeah. How do you think that would go? I'd imagine quite badly.
I don't see that working out very
Trump
well.
has become a pariah at this point, and while he turns out large portions of his base tends to be much smaller in Virginia. They're much more spread out. They're much less numerous. Virginia isn't a state where his base is congregated, unlike a state like Alabama or Missouri. Now, we take a look at independents. Independents tend to make up a very large portion of Virginia because suburban, educated white people tend to be more moderate. And then you have some that tend to be extremely liberal. Like our community,
Yeah.
we're very suburban white, but we tend to be extremely liberal. But the ones outside Washington, D.C., government workers, they tend to be more moderate. So, I mean, these moderates see Trump as a boogeyman. He is the definition of insanity to many of these people. And thus, I see if he decided to run in that race, he would get around 37, 38% of the vote.
Yeah. Do you think what do you see? Because Kirk Cox is looking like he's probably going to be the nominee. What do you see? McAuliffe versus Cox race.
You see, any Republican is better than Trump in a state like Virginia. So I see him losing. I see Cox getting around 43% of the vote, and if it's McAuliffe, then I see him getting around 53% of the vote. 10-point difference, and then 4% going to libertarian, write-ins, progressive, and like people might write in Bernie Sanders, whatever.
Green Party, yeah. The candidate who I think would most shake up the race would be Justin Fairfax, because he is allegedly, I believe, a wife beater. If I'm getting my allegations straight.
They're gonna pull a Cal Cunningham in that sense.
Oh yeah, but like much worse, because Cal Cunningham was not quite that bad. He just couldn't keep his pants on.
I mean, he was sexting someone other than his wife. That isn't as bad.
That is not bad. Literally as bad as domestic abuse.
A wife beater.
Yeah.
All right.
He might lose.
The New York mayoral race. That's gonna be a fun one.
That's gonna be interesting. I think Yang has
Andrew Yang is running for mayor. People have filmed him filming commercials already. So I think that he has a very large chance because as a former presidential candidate, especially one who with such radical ideas, he appeals to, I'm not kidding about this, he appeals to Republicans and Democrats while having some of the most progressive ideas one has ever had.
Yeah.
UBI, the reason he appeals to Republicans, I think, is because he's got this he's very good at appealing to people who have been put out of jobs by automation and shipping overseas. He's been good at appealing to blue-collar workers, which is something that the Democrats sorely need. He's also been good.
And really suck at, I might add.
What?
And Democrats have not been so good in recent years at appealing to blue-collar workers.
Yeah, that has been absolutely certain. But the fact that he appealed to blue-collar voters by appealing to them in that sense has really helped with his messaging. As there's this person on TikTok, Kai Clips, I think his name is. He is part of the Republican Hype House, and in his bio, he is Yang 2024.
Is that the PaleoCon?
That's the paleo family conservative, whatever his name is. That guy. He is Yang 2024 in his bio, which I found is very odd, but I can see why. Because I can really see why. But Yang, he also appeals to young people in much the same way that Bernie Sanders does. Because UBI is another sticking point. It's like free money, and young people love free money. Like, they love free healthcare, free college, UBI, free money. Young people love that. So he had a large appeal in that regard. He appealed to me. Like, if I was in that ballot station in February going to cast my ballot in a Democratic primary for example, in New Hampshire or Iowa. In New Hampshire, if I was going to vote in New Hampshire, I probably would have gone and say, hey Siri, flip a coin, Pete Buttigieg's heads, Andrew Yang is tails.
Yeah.
I probably would have done that, and if it's tails, I'm pulling for Yang. That's how good of a candidate he was, and so he has such a large base built up from that I personally see him steamrolling anybody else who tries to run, including former Congressman at this point, Max Rose.
Oh, he already said he won't. And I think with Rose dropping out, there was a lot of overlapping support
Rose dropped
between
out?
the two. Well, he formed an exploratory committee. He was like, yeah, actually, I'm not going to do this. So I think
that makes sense because of Yang.
Yeah, and
I
I
mean,
think most of Rose's support is going to go to Yang, and so we could see actually in the primary, Staten Island might be one of Yang's strongest areas. That's my
I have a feeling that when it comes to Max Rose, some Democrats probably came up to him saying, "Hey, the revolving door is open. Come work for us." And he probably said, "You know what? That's more of a safe bet than New York mayor race."
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I perfectly understand where he'd be coming from in that case.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like Yang is actually a very strong candidate because of the base that he's built up. You got the Democrats who support him, the Republicans who support him, and the young voters. Keep in mind that he does appeal to a lot of the current high school crowd, but that high school crowd is going to be able to vote very soon, and he's also been able to appeal to a lot of younger people who can vote. So, with this base that he's built up, it's definitely going to be very easy for him to sweep this race.
I wouldn't be surprised if he ran in 2024 for president again.
I wouldn't either.
Maybe not. Well, if he does run for president, he has a much stronger base than he did in 2020. I'd
Exactly.
argue.
Oh, definitely.
But I don't think he will.
The problem with Yang's campaign is that he didn't get the coverage of candidates like Bernie Sanders or Joe Biden or Elizabeth Warren or Pete Buttigieg because news organizations and reporters were instructed to not talk to him. They were instructed by their superiors to not reach out to him as he was seen as not worth their time, or they were hoping to influence for either the Biden campaign or the Sanders campaign or the Warren campaign, whatever.
The issue I have with that, with regards to the Biden campaign, is that the media actually wasn't that nice to him in the primary. It was obvious their candidates were Elizabeth Warren and Pete Buttigieg, right? And so all of these irrelevant Biden scandals, and I say scandal in quote because it's really nobody really cares. In the real world, of course, everyone on Twitter goes nuts, but no actual voters really, no substantial amount of voters care about these things. The media would be talking about them all day.
It's oh no, Biden said if you vote Trump, you ain't black, or poor people are just as smart as white people, or black people are just as smart as rich people, or whatever. It's
whatever he said.
He's old and has a stutter.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so shocked.
And he also has a habit of sticking his foot in his mouth, and it's nothing new. I mean, it's been happening for a while.
I get it. This isn't the Joe Biden you remember from the Bork Supreme Court hearings. This isn't the Biden that you remember speaking on MSNBC about the Falklands. This isn't the Vice President Biden that you remember. But he's much more visible now than he was then. He wasn't making nearly as many speeches as vice president because he's vice president.
Yeah.
That job was for Obama. Obama makes his speeches, and Biden comes in as backup. He's like the cheerleader in the background.
Yeah.
Now, he is going to be the president, so he has to make those speeches. So you see those gaps far more often. And the media chose to stick onto that because, well, what else did they have to go after?
Yeah.
I mean, even Fox News was saying that he was a good candidate after he was confirmed as the Democratic nominee. After the convention. Even they were saying, that was a great speech, I was surprised, and then they had to find other ways to go after him, such as Kamala Harris.
Oh God, I remember that whole...
That was a very terrible night for Fox News. They stooped down to a new low.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, Fox News is sort
Except for Obama birther. That was...
Oh, yeah, that was... or the Dijon mustard scandal.
Oh, and Hillary Clinton... and the Obama... No, he wasn't wearing a suit, so Fox News spent an entire night of covering how he wasn't wearing a suit, and he was just wearing a dress shirt.
And the tan suit. The tan suit. Can't have that tan suit. That was the #1 Obama era scandal, I think.
The tan suit scandal.
Un-American,
Like-
outrageous. I can't believe that even happened. You know,
It's
disgrace
like,
to this country.
I wonder what Trump supporters would be saying today, saying, I hope that he got Hillary Clinton locked up. After all, she let 4 Americans die.
Oh, yeah. That's especially
Honestly,
ironic
I feel
now.
like
You know,
a lot
the
of
one
people
thing,
are just grasp at straws.
it's the
Sure,
pandemic has sort
Yeah.
of made it so that a lot of the Trump attacks they used in 2016 don't work anymore. An example is Benghazi, right? Because they went after, oh, Hillary Clinton was careless. She let 4 Americans die. I'm gonna be completely honest. I was not like politically engaged for Benghazi, so I can't really say I have that much of an informed opinion. Other than there were like 9 hearings and none of them found her guilty.
Well, basically, what I know about Benghazi is, well, she did screw up in actually some regards by not authorizing the use of airstrikes
Yeah.
in order to protect Americans. However, most of the Americans who died at Benghazi, I think 3 of them, died before planes could have ever reached.
Yeah.
She could have at most prevented 1 CIA operative from dying, which she didn't, which was bad on her, but still. I don't think that's a reason to criminally indict someone because she had reason for not doing it. She had reason. She didn't want to send planes over a populated metro area, American planes at that. That would have been a scandal, a
Yeah.
major scandal. And yeah, I have to go right now. I will be back on in 15 minutes.
Okay.
But,
No worries,
I have to
Ian.
go eat dinner. Thank you very much. I will be back on soon.
Yep. Take your time. All right, Anton. It's just you and me.
All right.
Okay. So I guess
What do we got?
but we'll save some for Ian. But I'd like to go on to the 2022 discourse.
Okay.
Because we're gonna have redistricting, and that's gonna be really interesting. Part of what I'm wondering is that now the Democrats, as you may or may not know, have a supermajority in the New York State Senate. They can gerrymander now, and that is going to be. I've seen maps with up to like 4 or 5 Republicans eliminated, and they're still technically DRA compliant, which means they're legal. I'm sort of wondering, you know, what will our district look like after an extreme gerrymander? Like, it's possible we'll have pieces of like the Bronx in our district because they have to cram as much as they have to split Westchester into a bunch of different parts so it can produce several rather blue districts.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure how that's going to play out, to be brutally honest with you. I mean, for one thing, that's like a year away. But another thing is, you know, like, just so I have a bit of context here, like, what was the last effect of like a major gerrymander in anywhere?
Well, there are a couple. North Carolina was really bad, where Democrats won the vote statewide, but only got like I think 3 of the 11 seats. That was quite the gerrymander. Texas is pretty bad too, and it's gonna get worse after this cycle because I believe it's the Supreme Court draws the maps, the Texas Supreme Court, and it's quite conservative. And so I imagine, like Vicente Gonzalez in the Rio Grande Valley, he's getting drawn right out of his district. You know, he only won by 4 points. Just add in some rural counties, he's done.
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like it entirely depends on how they draw the maps.
Yeah, and
Because
what might end up happening is that so Illinois has a long and famous history of drawing very gerrymandered maps. That's another good example.
Right.
Except this time it's the Democrats who are doing the egregious gerrymandering. Because Speaker of the House Mike Madigan, who's been in power for like God knows how long, he actually might lose his speakership this time around because there are a bunch of people, Democrats, who are going up against him. However, he has, and I think this is going to continue even if he goes away, is that Illinois Democrats are probably going to gerrymander at least 1 Republican out of their seat. And so you're seeing Adam Kinzinger, who's been not so friendly to Trump from the start, is really like amping up the anti-Trump rhetoric, right? And he's in a solidly Trump district, so I was wondering, what is he doing? But then I realized it's probably because he doesn't want to have a huge piece of Chicago drawn into his district, right? That's what I figure.
I see where they're coming from on that. Because, like, obviously you have to have some sort of motive to do that much what looks like damage to your reputation and your campaign. I feel like definitely the Chicago thing plays a major part in why he would choose to do such a thing. But maybe there are some underlying motives that he might have, or maybe he just genuinely hates Trump that much.
Yeah.
After all, I'm not quite sure, honestly.
I think part of it is that, well, it's he's hated Trump from the start, but he's really been more open about his hatred of Trump in the last really after the whole election mess, with Trump claiming that he won, refusing to concede, etc., etc. Really quickly, I'm gonna go over my 2022 race rating since we're waiting for Ian.
Got it.
So I'm sort of doing House ratings, but I have a full comprehensive Senate rating for potentially competitive races. So Alaska, Senator Lisa Murkowski, is going to be up. She's going to have a primary challenge, from another Republican, but now Alaska, they don't have primaries for, like, Senate and House races anymore. They just have a blanket jungle primary with ranked choice voting, and then, I believe, actually, I don't know if they have a jungle primary now, and then the top two advance eventually, until they win. I don't know if that's with ranked choice voting or without, but basically, there's a small chance, that there's, for example, an independent candidate like Al Gross. If it's Sarah Palin, former governor, if she runs against Murkowski, and Murkowski doesn't clear the top two, it might be Palin versus Gross, or Mark Begich could run again. It would be Palin versus Begich, and Mark Begich could potentially win. You know, it's unlikely, but he did well in the governor's race in 2018, so he could do well in 2022, especially as the state is trending blue. Arizona, Mark Kelly is going to be up, and that is a toss-up because Arizona was very close this time around, and Kelly, unless he's against Martha McSally or Kelly Ward, who are both awful candidates, he might have a real race on his hands. Colorado, Michael Bennet, we give this seat likely Democratic for now. Biden won Colorado by 14 points. It's a solid blue state. However, if it's a very favorable Republican year, like Ian seems to think for some reason, that race could potentially be competitive, especially if Republicans get a strong recruit like Mike Kaufman. Florida, we give this likely Republican, especially with Trump's larger-than-expected victory, and Marco Rubio's crossover appeal he had from the start. Marco Rubio outran Trump by 6 in an election year in 2016. I don't really see how that's going to change at all, especially since Florida is trending further to the right. My hot take for this race is actually that we could see Marco Rubio being the first Republican to win Miami-Dade County in quite some time. Georgia. Georgia, for obvious reasons, is going to be a toss-up. This is in large part due to the fact that we don't know who the senator from Georgia is actually going to be. It's going to be either Kelly Loeffler or Raphael Warnock. John Ossoff won't be back up until 2026. Nevada is the perennial lean Democratic state, and so we give the Senate race a lean Democratic rating. Could move to toss-up if Governor Brian Sandoval decides to go for if he decides to run for Senate. However, he's indicated that he won't, and so I do not expect him to do so. Finally, Pennsylvania, Senator Pat Toomey is retiring. Democrats have a strong bench. Republicans might, they might not. It depends on who's running. But it looks likely that either Connor Lamb, who is a U.S. House representative, good candidate, Josh Shapiro, who's the state attorney general, the Secretary of State, who outperformed Biden quite significantly in his re-election campaign, and Josh Fetterman, who's the incumbent lieutenant governor, might run for the seat and make it interesting. Some people think it's lean Democratic. I'm going to hold off on that for now. Finally, we have Wisconsin. Senator Ron Johnson. No one knows if he's running for re-election or not. It really remains to be seen. If he runs again, I honestly think he's going to win. If he doesn't, that could make things interesting. Governor's races. I'll get through these pretty quickly. I don't know why. I guess Colorado is up. Oh, yeah, no, it is up. Never mind, sorry. Arizona's a toss-up. Governor Doug Ducey's retiring, and it's an open seat in a swing state. Colorado, Jared Polis is pretty popular, but you never know. Same thing with Connecticut, another solidly Democratic state. Governor Ned Lamont has had some popularity problems, especially after that whole thing with Dan Malloy and his 29% approval rating. So a lot of that remains to be seen. However, it is a blue state. With the death of ticket splitting, it's hard to see a Republican winning here. Florida, Ron DeSantis has not done a great job with the pandemic, so despite Florida's strong Republican lean, we're going to give that lean Republican for now. Could be moved to likely. Georgia, it's looking like a rematch with incumbent Governor Brian Kemp, the Republican, versus Stacey Abrams, who needs no introduction, really. That's going to be interesting. We also have Kansas Governor Laura Kelly, who is a Democrat, believe it or not, in Kansas. That race starts as a toss-up because we really don't know what's going to happen there. Biden did improve in Kansas for the first time in a while. It's actually voted bluer than Missouri. However, Trump still did win by 15 points. So, you know. Maine is lean Democratic since Biden did win by about 10 points, and Governor Janet Mills is relatively popular. Maryland. Larry Hogan, the Republican governor, looks to be retiring in 2022. So we give that race lean Democratic for now. If it's a very Republican-friendly environment like 2010 and 2014, we could see Republicans holding that seat. However, if it is a neutral environment or Democratic-leaning environment, Democrats will easily win the seat. Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer is quite popular. We rate her seat as likely Democratic, especially after Biden won by 3 points in November. Minnesota, Biden won by 7 here, and it voted bluer than the country as a whole, resuming its streak from 2012, which was broken in 2016. Governor Tim Walz is popular. We give it likely Democratic for now. Could move to safe, could move to lean, could move to toss-up even. Who knows? Mike Lindell, the MyPillow guy, is looking to challenge him, believe it or not. Nevada, same story. The perennial lean Democratic state. Governor Steve Sisolak is probably going to run again. And unless he gets a very strong challenger, I don't really think he's going to lose. New Hampshire, Governor Chris Sununu may or may not run for Senate. If he does, that moves it to toss-up. If not, it moves to likely Republican, if not safe. Ohio, Governor Mike DeWine is quite popular, and the only scenario where it really is competitive is if Congressman Jim Jordan successfully challenges him in a primary over his mask mandate and restrictive, his COVID restrictions. And Democrats get a strong candidate like Representative Tim Ryan. It could move to likely even lean Republican, but I really doubt Democrats are going to get this state. It stayed sort of static from 2016 despite the country shifting left as a whole. We next have Pennsylvania. Governor Tom Wolf is term limited and retiring. And it would have been leaner likely Democratic if he were still, around. But he is not, and so there's a lot of unknowns about what this race could look like in a Republican-friendly environment. I think they'd likely win it. Finally, we have 2 more states. Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers is still relatively popular. However, it is a swing state, and as COVID hopefully goes away by 2022, his popularity could begin to fade. And South Dakota. Governor Kristi Noem is really everywhere but in her home state. She barely won against Senate minority, or it might have been House minority leader in the North Dakota State House or Senate, depending on which one it actually is, Billy Sutton in 2018, just a 5-point victory in a Trump plus 32 state. So we think we're favored. She is favored, at least for now. But it's going to be interesting, especially if Sutton runs again or another strong candidate runs. Finally, we have our House predictions. We cannot really make any real comprehensive predictions right now because of what is going on regarding the House. It is redistricting. 2020 is a redistricting year. And assuming the census isn't still getting their act together by 2022, we will have new House maps in virtually every state. We can, however, project that Republicans will lose at least 2 seats due to redistricting, because West Virginia's 3rd district will no longer exist as it will be eliminated, and Alabama's 7th will be also eliminated. because the one Democratic district in Alabama, Republicans could eliminate it. However, they actually can't because it would be illegal and violate it would not be DRA compliant or VRA compliant. Sorry, Voter Rights Act. Democrats, meanwhile, will lose Rhode Island's 2nd district. Both of Rhode Island's districts are Democratic, obviously, because Rhode Island's a very blue state. However, they're going to lose a seat after the census, and that means that one seat is going to be going away. So that will set up an interesting primary battle. Do we have anything else? All right, I guess I'll go over this.
James,
Yes?
I have 2 things I'd like to real quick say.
Oh, yeah.
First,
Go ahead.
First, I feel like your predictions for what we do know, I'd say they are mostly accurate, but you got to keep in mind that also this is a year away. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
You never know. But I feel like your logic at least makes sense there.
Thank you.
I'll give you that there. Also,
Yes.
Zach just texted me and he said he wants to set something up, join the meet, and take calls for something.
Could you get him to elaborate?
Okay, just give me a second. Should I get him on a call or something?
You just text him and figure out, because I don't know what that actually means.
Right.
So, shout out to Zach. You are our first viewer. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. You should mute your mic if you're gonna.
I'm not gonna call him. I'm texting him.
Oh, okay.
Also, he's calling me. All right, give me a second.
Yep. Moving on. Turnout was 66.7% in 2020. That is the highest turnout in a presidential election since 1900. So in over 100 years. The big part of what's going to shake out tonight is going to be turnout, because runoffs always see lower turnout than the general, because the general election brings out people who just vote for president and nothing else, who might split, they might split, but they vote down the ticket usually. However, lots of people aren't going to bother to come out to vote for a runoff. And both sides are hoping that their turnout will be better than the other. Usually, runoffs benefit Republicans because it's a combination of factors make it harder for African Americans to vote the first time, not just, and voting twice is also pretty difficult if it's difficult to vote the first time due to voter suppression in states like Georgia. Yes?
Zach said that he has like a Google Voice number set up, and he says we can have people like call in with their opinions and stuff. So like he could take those calls.
Sure. How about you create a group chat on text, and we can discuss this more there.
All right, I'll do that.
Great, thank you. Where were we?
All right, I'm making a group chat.
All right, great. Outlook for 2022. Here are my overall ratings for each, the 2 chambers of Congress and the National Governors Association, which is just all the governors. The NGA, I have it as likely Republican. It is a Republican majority, and I don't think that's going to really change in the near future, mostly because Republicans simply dominate more states. A lot of these states are rural, North the Dakotas, Wyoming, Idaho, etc., etc. The Senate, however, is a toss-up, mostly because control of the Senate will be decided tonight. And since we don't know what it will look like tonight, we don't know what the outlook will be in 2022.
Oh yeah, that would be. Do you think that when do you think we'll know the results of both of the Senate elections?
I'm hoping tonight. It's possible that if things go smoothly, it's possible we'll have a good picture of it by 11 o'clock when the stream ends. There's also a excellent chance that we don't. And so that's gonna be interesting. I think if the Democrats, if it looks like the Republicans are gonna win by a substantial margin, or the Democrats are gonna win by a substantial margin, obviously we'll probably know beforehand. However, I will give this warning to everyone now again. The New York Times Needle for Georgia has a chronic habit of giving Republicans like 80 to 90% chance at winning early on, even if they don't end up actually winning. That happened to Donald Trump in the 2020 election. I remember at one point in November, he was at 87% on the Georgia needle, 87%, and that's in a state he lost. So you really have to keep that in mind. The In 2018, although Stacey Abrams lost that governor's race, they overestimated Brian Kemp by quite a bit because Georgia's sort of weird like that. We're really gonna have to take a deep dive into the numbers to really know what's going on, because it is so much more than raw margins. It's also turnout. That's going to be a huge portion of it, because you can win 80% in all these rural counties, but if no one votes, it really doesn't matter. So yeah. It's going to be interesting to see, speaking of turnout, what the 2022 elections are going to look like, because 2018 was characterized by historically high midterm turnout. 50%, which is sounds awful, but it's actually really good for a midterm. What was it? Yes, that's right. Okay, 2022. With the absence of a chaotic presidency, hopefully, crossing my fingers, don't want to jinx it, but hopefully, the Biden presidency, and from what we've seen so far, I think this has been confirmed to be true, will not be quite as chaotic as the Trump administration, and so I think voter turnout is going to be lower than in 2018. The question is how much lower. For example, 2014, a big Republican wave, turnout was at 34%. It was abysmal. It was abysmal. It was horrible, and that's part of the reason why Republicans made such large gains. As we know, very high turnout does not automatically benefit Democrats. That's a theory many Democrats had before. Not true. As we saw in 2020, lots of Democrats went down, and because of high Republican turnout. For example, Kendra Horn, Oklahoma's 5th. That made, she lost, obviously. She outran Biden, but she couldn't outrun the top of the ticket high well enough in order to actually win that seat, because it was something like Trump plus 8, Trump plus 10. Another good example is Joe Cunningham, who outran the top of the ticket by 8 points, to lose by about a percentage point to... I don't know if he was against Nancy Mace or someone else. That might have been...
I have a question.
In 2018.
How do I wait, no, I see the copy link. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, so I knew what to do. All right, I'll get Zach on the stream.
Okay, we have a guest speaker, Zach. This is the second guest speaker ever, because technically, Anton, last time you were a guest speaker, because you joined midstream. Okay, we have... Oh, wow. Polls are actually closing in 9 minutes, and then we will switch into full Georgia mode. We will not be doing the New York City governor's discourse. We probably will end up talking about midterms still, because this does play it sort of sets up for the 2022 midterm cycle and the 2021 off-year election cycle. However, this is going to be the focus, because this is the election that's going on. It is pivotal. It's absolutely pivotal. If Joe Biden wants to pass things, like, for example, the public option, or the decriminalization, maybe even the legalization, Biden's not really on board, but I doubt he would veto it, of marijuana. Progressive policy positions like that, although you could argue as to whether the public option would be considered progressive in today's environment, those things are only going to get passed with the Democratic Senate. Otherwise, most of Biden's accomplishments would be along the lines of a better stimulus bill, as well as things like infrastructure, where both parties can get along relatively well. However, you could see some more divisive things coming up if Democrats have the Senate, although they still have to deal with getting it past a bunch of moderates, including, and probably most of all, Joe Manchin, the Democrat from West Virginia, who in his campaign ads shoots things, with shotguns and stuff. So, yeah.
Honestly, I feel like the more I think about it, it looks more and more like this is going to be a very close election, but I'm definitely seeing where you're coming from, with your previously established viewpoints of both Republicans winning. I could see maybe one Democrat pulling ahead and
that would be so
small one.
strange. If that does happen, I'd rather it be Ossoff than Warnock. Not because of anything against Warnock, mostly just because we'll have that seat no matter what, unless, like, Ossoff, God forbid, has to resign up until 2026, while Warnock's going to be up again next year.
Yeah, I can see that maybe being a slight possibility. I honestly feel like both Democrats winning is more likely than one Democrat winning and the other losing.
Yeah.
But it's honestly, I don't really stand by the hot take that I presented earlier on anymore. I'm starting to feel like the Republicans are going to pull ahead here.
Okay.
If only just because of how strong the Republican base in Georgia is.
Yeah, welcome back, Ian. We are now 7 minutes from poll closings in Georgia.
7 minutes.
Yeah.
Getting ready.
Ian, if you can, I've a request of you. Actually, any of you can really do this. So, I'm going to mostly be focused on the New York Times page. They do not include the results for Public Advocate or whatever it's called.
Public advocacy groups?
No, it's the position. I mix it up with Public Advocate. It's Public Service Commission. We are covering that, but it's going to be difficult to find results from that.
Very important.
Yes, very important, because, and this is one of my hot takes, is that even if Loeffler and Perdue do pull it off, I can see Daniel Blackman, who's the guy running for whatever this Public Service Commission, I can see him pulling it off, because take Nikki Fried, the Agriculture Secretary from Florida. Despite Rick Scott flipping that Senate seat, Ron DeSantis holding the gubernatorial race, and statewide Republicans winning pretty much everywhere down the ballot, except that race, she pulled it off. Because people do like to split their tickets. I mean, it is a small percentage of the population, but a meaningful one nonetheless, especially in these
I actually have some people in my family that split their tickets. I know one person that voted for Biden and one person that voted against Mondaire Jones because they didn't like their progressive agenda.
Did they vote for Maureen McArdle, whatever her name is? Oh.
Actually, a fun fact about her. My math tutor, that is her mother.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I was talking to her.
I'm not the biggest fan of her policy, I must say.
I was like, Mondaire Jones, he won. I didn't really support him. It was like, and I'm like, but I saw like the Republican really did well, and I was talking about how Maureen McArdle did really well. I was like, oh yeah, that's my mother. And I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, what now?
Ian, she got 36% of the vote.
Yeah, compare that to Donald Trump.
Okay, but here's the thing: you have to put that into context, because I'm pretty sure Jones actually outran the top of the ticket, because he did way better than Biden in Rockland, and our district includes 100% of Rockland County.
I think that but Biden did outperform him overall district-wide.
Are you sure? Because that would have had to. Because he outperformed Biden by 9 in Rockland, so he would have had to outrun.
Well, Biden outperformed him by a lot in Westchester.
Yeah, but wait, where are you getting that info? Because if you look at New York Times, you have to keep in mind that the more conservative part of Westchester, I can't believe I'm saying that, but there is a more liberal and more conservative half of Westchester.
Yes, the more conservative part of Westchester. If you look at the extremely detailed map, there's that one tiny spot of red in East Chester.
It's northern Westchester is actually quite Republican, but like nobody lives there, so it doesn't matter.
I cannot wait for the extremely detailed map to come up so that
God, I am praying.
The precincts and just add up all the numbers personally by hand. That would be fun to do.
Oh my God. My prediction for Owen's precinct, because that's actually the one precinct where Hillary Clinton did worst. Keep in mind she got 60% of the vote. She didn't do badly, but compared to everywhere else in Irvington, where she was getting in the 70s, even 80s in some precincts, I'm interested to see if Biden gets into some decent numbers there. Because
I have a feeling Biden will do a lot better than Clinton did in 20. I think that there is a chance that one of the Irvington precincts gets above 90% for Biden.
There is one that is extraordinarily blue in Irvington.
The one at Arlington-on-Hudson.
Yeah. Yep, you know it.
That might go upwards of 90% for Biden.
You think so? Well, it was 88% for Clinton.
Beforehand, he was the maverick. Now he has the record to defend. And people in New York hate his COVID response.
Who? Trump's? Yes. So yeah. I thought you were talking about Cuomo for a second.
People would rather vote against Trump than for Biden. That's my point. And
that's fair.
That's kind of. I feel like that's been well known about New York.
Okay. We have 2 minutes until polls close. Ian, I ran over
1
my...
minute 40 seconds as
Okay,
of
if you want to get technical,
now.
sure. 1 minute and 40 seconds.
And only 61% of Georgia voters today surveyed believe that Biden was the legitimate winner of the election.
That's
That
actually...
is
That's not bad. I'm surprised it was that high.
Yeah.
This is this like a exit poll? Because exit polls are weird. Some of them just like totally exclude absentee voters. So I'm not sure what the party ID breakdown would be. Obviously, we all saw that exit poll. That's going to be interesting to see whether it's right or not, because exit polls were a bit wonky, and like the AP exit poll was definitely wrong, because it had Biden improving among black voters, even though he did worse in like virtually every black precinct, pretty much everywhere. So I don't know what that's going to look like. We have to...
You said that Biden did worse in every black precinct everywhere. Is that compared to Clinton?
Yes, virtually.
Yes.
The exception is actually Maryland for some reason, which, even though it is very blue,
Why do you think that's so? Was there a higher was it just the turnout, or did more...
Maryland is just trending blue all around.
No, I'm sorry, but with the black voters. You said that Biden did...
it was because Trump had a outreach program to black voters that he put probably too much money into for it. It didn't really have a great payout because he got crushed with them, and it's just like Biden got like 87% as opposed to 89%.
Oh, okay. But he got that extra 2%. That extra 2% does count. 2% of 13% of the nation is
substantial.
Like 100,000, 200,000 votes. So
yeah, Ian, I am going to interrupt you really quickly because we do have poll closings. Polls have just closed in the state of Georgia, and we do have a projection, or rather a key race alert. The first one is that the Georgia Senate race, David Perdue faces off against Jon Ossoff. That race is too early to call. We may be moving it to too... realistically, we're probably going to move it to too close to call as the night moves on. Going to the Senate special, Kelly Loeffler, who was scandal-plagued and looked like she would not even make the runoff, but however has sort of gotten her act together, made the runoff against Democrat Raphael Warnock, who also looked in a bad position at one point. Those two face off tonight. Too early to call. Meanwhile, the Georgia Public Service Commission, which is so irrelevant that I couldn't find fitting photos for either of the candidates, we have that as too early to call. We do not know if it will be close or not, because these sort of irrelevant... I don't want to say irrelevant, because they are relevant. These less... sort of... The statewide races that are not in the news cycle tend to have some wonky results, so we're going to see what it looks like there. Okay. So, now that our election discourse has started, we are going to go to here, and nada. The AP survey indicates high African American turnout, 32% of the electorate, which is up 5% from the 2020 general. So, for what that means, we're going to go first to Ian, and then Anton, and then Zach, if you guys would like to all speak.
All right.
So, basically at this point, we're just waiting for results, because we won't have I think we've discussed most of what has to be discussed. The first results, once they come in, we'll be able to figure out how the night is starting to go, and especially where they come in from. But keep in mind that the first results in Ohio on election night, remember those results?
Oh yeah, those looked amazing for Biden, and it just went right downhill.
But the fact of the matter is, Biden was doing really well in Ohio, and most of the vote that still had to come in was from the Democratic parts. It was a reminder of 2012 when Karl Rove was having his meltdown on Fox News about Hamilton and Cayuga counties and thinking that they were much redder than they actually were that year. Well, if this was 2020, he would be right, and Fox would have been wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just, we have to wait for the results, and we have to see where they're coming in from. And if they come in from the Democratic counties first, which I doubt it, I doubt that they'll come in from the Democratic counties first because, well,
yeah,
let's be realistic, they take a lot longer to count the votes because there's a lot more of them.
Yeah.
I have a feeling once the Republican counties come in, if they come in numbers, and as on election night, the percentage between Ossoff and Warnock is small, between Ossoff, Warnock, and Perdue and Loeffler is small, then it's going to be a good night, similar to how it was for mine.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to add before we go to Anton is that my hot take, and we'll see how this shakes out, is that the first results are going to come from somewhere in Sanford Bishop's districts, which is the Black Belt area of Georgia. You know, the rural counties with large African American populations in the South, sort of continuous with the Black Belt in Alabama. Same sort of deal. Black majority counties in rural areas. Sorry about that. Just my little brief hot take. We'll go to Anton and then Zach if both of you want to speak. Antonio, take the mic.
All right. Well, I came in with a hot take at the beginning of this discourse, which I've since taken a step back from. If it does happen, it's going to be very, very close, which I've always believed. But, like, now more than ever, I'm starting to see just how big the platform is for the Republican Party. And it's kind of like just a mess overall.
Anton, sorry to interrupt you. You might want to mute your phone because I can hear it
let me
dinging.
turn off my ringer. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. So the thing is, I definitely agree that it's way too early to call, and we definitely need to see how this night goes out and where the votes are coming from.
Oops. Sorry. The title of the video is mislabeled.
Oh yeah, I noticed that. I was gonna say something, but like
it's fine.
Yeah. The thing is, we need to keep in mind just how, like, look at a bunch of states in the 2020 presidential election, for instance. So many states, when the Republican counties sent their votes in first, the in-person votes came in first. Those went towards Trump, and it looked like Trump was going to win there. But then all of the mail-in ballots, all the Democratic counties, they came in and submitted their results, and Biden ended up winning those states. I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it looks like the Democrats are going to win every county, which they absolutely aren't. But
yeah, no way.
This is but like you got to keep in mind which counties will submit first, and is the margin that those counties build up, like in the first hours of the poll closings, is that margin going to be big enough to overtake the challenging party's votes as well, or is that challenging party going to usurp them and give their party's candidates the votes?
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Anton. Zach, it's yours.
Okay. So by the way, so I set up a hotline number. And by the way, I saw on radio.com, which I love it. It's amazing. It's an app that you can get, and you could like listen to the radio, and they give us also they give me all sort of updates, like it's closed, you could tune in and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, so I'm gonna screen these calls.
If you don't mind, don't share the number just yet. I'm gonna hold off on that because I'm hopeful that anyone who's gonna do a prank call will be gone by like 9:30ish, and then we can show it and have someone call in.
Okay.
Or I mean, if you're interested, chances are you're probably gonna have either my social media contacts or my phone number.
They could also text the number too.
Oh, okay, but what I'm saying is basically, if you want to appear as a guest speaker, you can literally just text me. You know, it's not exactly a very rigorous process.
So Zach, what are your thoughts on tonight? Like, what do you think is going to go down, and what do you think are?
I don't know who's gonna win. It's I know this could like change. It like if there's so we all know that it's like 48-50 now, but then like one more person could turn it all red, but then one person could turn it maybe blue, and then two people could turn it blue, and then it's 50-50, and then it goes to the vice president. Or we could have it like as Republican, like it was before.
Yeah, that's going to be certainly interesting. I'm going to see.
So this matters.
Another thing to note is that the Democrats haven't had control of the Senate since the Republican landslide of 2014, in which 9 Democrats lost their seats. 9.
That was brutal. You
That
saw what they did to
brutal
Blanche
watch.
Lincoln?
Colorado.
Awful.
Colorado. That was Cory Gardner. He was basically out for the count once 2020 came around.
Yeah.
I think he knew that for a while, but the fact that he won in 2014 was a brutal blow to the Obama administration.
Ian, just for a clarification, I believe it was actually, I'm correcting myself. It was Mark Pryor who lost that year. I think Blanche Lincoln lost in 2010. It's just a note. Both Arkansas
what did I say?
senators.
I thought I said Tom Udall.
Oh, no, you did. I was correcting myself, not you.
Yes, Tom Udall.
Yeah, Tom Udall went down.
Tom Udall, he was actually a very good senator. He was on the Senate, what was it? It was the Senate Intelligence Committee that was overseeing the investigation of the torture documents of the CIA.
Yeah.
I remember a good recommendation for all that are watching this, for the 5 viewers that we have. A good recommendation is called The Report. It's has Adam Driver in it. It's a very good film, and I highly recommend that you all watch it. And yeah, but basically it exclaims the quest of independent investigators appointed by the Senate to investigate the CIA's literal war crimes and the torture that they did. And it also stars someone who plays Gina Haspel, who became the director of the CIA for a while, and she was directly implicated in all of this. She's now the director. She was the director of the CIA. So it's a very hard movie to watch, but it's a very good film that explains government overreach and all of that stuff. Oh, and our first results are in.
Okay, let us take a look.
1% reported. A total of 723 votes. And Ossoff and Warnock are winning by a lot.
Yeah, I forgot to take out the Georgia results from.
It's from Burke County, though.
Oh, Burke. Oh, Burke is the one Clinton to Trump county.
More results. Fayette County, and
Fayette County, I believe,
margin.
also voted blue.
And the needle is pointing towards the Democrats. Everybody, the needle is going for the
Whoop-de-doo.
Democrats.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Okay, so we have initial results in Fayette, initial results in Burke. Although 8%, I think that can be considered more than initial.
Yeah, but again, I'd like to say this is still very, very early on.
This is like those 13 voters in New Hampshire.
Oh, yes, that's right, from Dixville Notch and that one other town, I remember.
Was it 18? Was it 18 voters?
It became 18 after all the tiny towns voted.
Yeah, that was very fun predicting who would win based off of those 18 voters.
Oh, we have Early County. Oh, wow, 21% in. Democrats lead in Early County. That is a good sign for Raphael Warnock, assuming that holds out, because that was a Trump county. Savannah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, remember how we saw Florida and how well Biden was doing in the beginning?
Yeah. That's a very good point. And also, Biden was winning by quite a lot also, early on in Georgia.
Yes, but Early County went through Trump by exactly 5%, but there were only 5,000 voters in the entire county. So, yeah, currently there's under 1,000. There's 21% reporting. Yeah, so, we don't know at this point. But, oh, wow, there's more coming in from Savannah. Chatham County, 1% reported.
Yeah.
500. Kelly Loeffler's in the lead, and
as is
David
Purdue.
Perdue is also in the lead. A funny thing that I'd like to note is that David Perdue appears to be doing better than Kelly Loeffler.
Yeah, I would second that. Although the needle actually seems to favor Ossoff more than Loeffler. Than Warnock.
Which surprises me, but David Perdue is doing a little better, which is surprising to me. Well, not surprising, because the African-American vote might split their ticket in this case. But,
yeah.
Very, very interesting.
Okay, I might have just figured out, I might have read the number wrong. Oh, no, never mind. They're identical in Early County. I don't know what's up.
What do you think it's been?
It might be Burke County that's different.
594.
Ossoff, I think, is...
No, Ossoff is winning by 5 votes in Early County. Oh, more votes are in. Berrien and Lanier County.
Yeah,
They're
Lanier
coming from
County.
the south first. And, yeah, it looks like now Kelly Loeffler's in the lead because Berrien County goes overwhelmingly for her.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
Obvious, the Lanier results are...
82% for Trump, so...
Yeah, the Lanier results are obviously very early, as are the ones in Savannah, as you can see, because Lanier voted for Trump by he got about 70% of the vote there, if I remember correctly. Savannah was a Chatham County, which voted for Biden by 17 points. So yeah, we have a lot of conflicting signals right now. It is far too early. Both Perdue and Loeffler have taken the lead, if I am correct. I know Purdue has.
Berrien County, David Perdue actually got the same amount that Donald Trump did, 82.2%. And yeah, so currently, the fact that it's 82.9% shows, the fact that it is 86%, only 16% has reported. 4% extra in those Republican counties might be a big deal. We have to see.
Yeah, there's a lot what we really have to see.
Oh, wow, and one county has reported all of its votes, Webster County. 98% reported. It is entirely reported, and it is 55.9% for David Perdue. Let's take a look at what it was.
That is a sizable improvement, I believe, over Donald Trump, actually.
Webster County.
Oh wait,
hang on.
I'm looking at the wrong. It's a it is a yeah, it is an overperformance of Donald Trump. Although I don't.
Hang on a second. Webster County. Where is it?
I'm not sure if this is including the percent reporting. I don't know if that's including write-ins or not. Or not write-ins, mail-ins.
I'm trying to find Webster.
I'm assuming it is. It's a Trump plus 8, I believe.
Trump plus 8? Well, currently that is a plus 12 for Purdue. That is a Trump improvement.
Yeah, if those margins hold up, that would be very good for David Perdue. He would likely win if we saw that sort of swing across the board. However,
Randolph, Webster County,
we might not.
That is exactly a plus 8. Wow, that is a big deal for David Perdue. And currently, now the needle's pointing towards Purdue, and it's exactly even on the Warnock race. That is a big deal, and it's gone even more for Kelly Loeffler. So those independent voters might actually be coming into play here. But the first northern county, Murray County, is reporting. Very small percentage, but that is big news. Webster County finished reporting. Let's see how many votes there were. Webster County, yeah.
Randolph just came in. Ossoff leads by 5. Where's that? Okay, that is another underperformance of Joe Biden.
Yikes. Well, it's only 67 67% in. We have to take into account mail-in ballots.
I think this might be including mail-ins, to be completely honest.
I know that mail-in ballots have been processed. Yikes, though. Not looking too good at the moment. Not looking too good. But, I mean, it is very early. It's only been 20 minutes since poll closing, so, we do not
know. Daniel Blackman is leading.
James, do you honestly think that the mail-in ballots are finished counting this quickly?
Well, these counties have like
have come in for Republicans.
9,000 votes, so possibly.
Yeah, more results have come in Hall County, Muskogee County with Columbus, Fayette County, Columbia County. So those results have come in.
Yeah, if the mail-in ballots did come in, then that would be horrible for Democrats, but they definitely didn't by now. I wouldn't say.
Yeah.
Because you just said maybe that's counting.
I think that John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are probably sweating at that result.
The only bright spot right now is Early County, where both of the candidates have a substantial lead. However, it is way too early.
You call that a bright spot?
Yeah, that is a Trump county. If that margin holds at all. If the margin holds at all, that will mean that's a substantial improvement over Joe Biden, and that's something.
Yes, it will, but I doubt it would.
It is. There are a lot of pieces going into this, and it's not just the black belt in Georgia, which has been trending Republican, by the way. We're gonna have to pay very close attention to the Atlanta metro.
Ossoff is outperforming Warnock at this point by a surprising amount.
Okay, and McDonald has taken the lead over Daniel Blackman. He is outperforming, it appears, both Warnock and Ossoff. So all of these races are too early to call.
Did you guys just give me a second? I need to do something.
Yep.
Yeah, at this point, and more results have come in. Warnock and Ossoff have just gained more votes. Looks like it's going towards them a little more.
Yeah, the needle is still at flip a coin. I think
as has Candler County.
I think we're going to be seeing a lot of flip a coin from the New York Times needle for quite some time. I think it's not going to be...
we're not going to know how the New York Times needle is coming until DeKalb comes in.
Yeah.
Once DeKalb comes in, I mean, if Stacey Abrams was able to, if that 5% extra African-American turnout is correct, that leads to around 4% extra Democratic vote. If that is correct, well, we're going to see that in DeKalb County. We're going to see that in Fulton County. We're going to see that in Clayton. And once we see those votes come in, that is, if they outperform Joe Biden in DeKalb County and Fulton County, then I would suggest that they have a sizable chance of winning.
Yeah, and Webster County is about 100% in. It's greater than 98%, so, we can assume there aren't that many ballots left. David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler, I'm assuming as well, have both outperformed.
Let's not take a look at this too early, though. This could be... Honestly, there's so many... Remember how we saw Pinellas County? And we saw, oh my god, Biden's winning by so much. He's surely going to win Florida at this point.
Yeah.
It could be entirely an anomaly.
That did not.
That
did not go well.
We have no clue what's happening. We cannot make predictions until the cities come in. Because once those cities come in and we get 50% of the vote coming from there, that is when we have an idea of what is going on. And in this case, that city is Atlanta. Once Atlanta comes in, and it's 3 counties, Fulton, Clayton, and DeKalb, and even counties like Henry County, the suburbs of Gwinnett and Cobb, and Newton and Rockdale. Once those counties come in, Rockdale, that's going to be one to actually look out for because it trended 15 points for Biden in the election, and he won it with 70% of the vote compared to Trump's 30.
Oh,
40%.
Big dump in Fulton.
Fulton. Wow, 22% is in, and they are outperforming Joe Biden at this point.
Wow.
That is big news. That is.
Oh yeah, Warnock
news.
is at 81% in Fulton right now.
And so is Ossoff. It is the exact same.
We also have a dump in Rockdale. Warnock is at 78%.
Ossoff is at 80.2%. So that is almost the exact same. That is a big deal for them.
That is an outperformance of Joe Biden, by the way, assuming that holds up.
Yeah, they will. If this act holds up, then they will win because that is an 8% outperformance of Trump. So.
And this is with a substantial amount of the vote, by the way. So it's early, but it's not nothing.
I say if they outperform Joe Biden by 4%, by anywhere from 3 to 5% in any of those counties, then they will win.
Yeah, we'll really have to see. I mean, because there's so many things at play. Things are looking bad in the Black Belt for Democrats. However, things are looking good in the Atlanta metro right now. So we're really going to have to keep a very close eye on this.
And also Rockdale County, that is once again a major win for Democrats as they are outperforming Joe Biden by, once again, 8%. And that is big news. That is more than 8%.
Oh, boy.
Well, actually, that's 10%. They're outperforming Biden by 10%.
And with 30% in, as of right now, Warnock is outperforming Biden by quite a bit in Terrell County. However, it's only a third of the vote in. I'm expecting, from what we saw in Webster, for that to change. However, I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns going into this, including how the votes are being counted, what's coming in first. There's a lot of...
best guess is... My best guess is we can't make any real decisions until past 8:15.
We can't make any real decisions, I don't think, past, like, 10 o'clock. Like,
we can't make any real predictions.
Yeah.
Because we can't even predict who's going to win, because like I said, there's only 20% of Rockdale and only 22% of Fulton. I mean, we saw every single result come in just flip in Florida. I like to point out Florida, even though the demographics are quite different with huge Hispanic populations that now are split block. They're 50-50 between Trump and Biden, which is a very big deal for the Republicans. But because of that split, and the African Americans are not as much a split block in comparison to Republicans, in comparison to Hispanics, but that is still a very big deal. Also, with those votes, John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are now leading by a lot.
Yeah.
So,
and the Needle's still doing the Needle things, you know. We're not gonna.
Also, more of the votes from the Warnock race have been reported compared to less of the votes from the Ossoff race.
I think that is a New York Times thing.
The Ossoff race and the Leffler-Warnock race at 135.
Oh,
Now,
the Needle has flipped back to Ossoff. Whoop-de-doo.
Henry County, only 1% of the votes are in, but only 1% of the votes are in from Henry County, but that is Republican. That probably will not hold up with 80% Republican.
And considering, if Purdue actually wins Henry County, the election is just over, because it's a Biden plus 20 county.
Yeah, if he does, and no, I think it's more than that. It's Biden actually is plus 20.5. So
technically, you know, if you want to be annoying.
It's a plus 21% county.
Yeah.
You have to round up 5 and up. But at this point, I don't really know.
It is so bizarre.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like if we expected to make predictions before like 8:30, 9 o'clock, the earliest, then we were probably in way over our heads. Because
I think more votes just came in.
Yeah, they probably did. Let's see.
For a while.
The only county that's really reporting like all of their votes is Webster. The rest has still. Although Murray's pretty close. Let's see how things are shaking out there. Okay, so a tiny bit of an underperformance.
I hope that all the TV anchors are not going to have to pull a 4-day all-nighter like they did last time.
Oh my god, I cannot do a 4-day all-nighter.
John King, his fingers must have been nubs at the end of those 4 nights. And if we look here, it's like I swear he was just pulling scenarios from outer space, saying, "But if Joe Biden wins here and loses here, but wins there and loses there, and if a donkey comes from outer space and aliens destroy half the planet, then it's possible Joe Jorgensen can win Kentucky."
Oh my god, yeah. I don't know if you noticed. But Daniel Blackman is outrunning both Warnock and Ossoff right now.
More votes just came in. Gwinnett County.
Yeah,
Let's
so
see.
here's the thing: if things look good
That
for
is also 11 points outperforming.
wow,
But that goes.
God
that
damn.
goes to, we have to ask ourselves the question: what votes are being processed? Are those the early votes? Are those the mail-ins? Or are those the today votes? If those are the today votes,
those are
then
the today votes, then Leffler and Purdue are gonna have a little bit of a problem.
if those are, yeah, exactly.
That's
Like,
gonna be
we have
pretty
to know
freaking bad.
what votes are being processed right now.
I'd imagine
Also,
it's mostly
early votes,
absentees and
Is that
earlies.
enough of a lead for them to outperform Biden still in those districts? Because right now what matters is, are they outperforming Biden or not?
Yeah.
And if they're outperforming Biden in the suburbs and cities, then they will win. But if they are not, then they will lose. That is the single most important question.
Ian, I'm betting you right now that this is the early vote because
I'm
it's,
betting you on that too. But,
absentees are counting first, and I doubt that there's going to be an 11% outperformance
oh, wow.
in the Atlanta metro.
Yeah, if they even outperform, listen, if they outperform Biden by at least even 1%, then they'll win.
Maybe. I mean,
1%.
if they keep.
If they outperform Biden by 1%, let's think of how.
Yeah,
many
but they're
votes
not doing so hot in the Black
1%
Belt
in
right
the
now.
Atlanta metro and suburbs adds up to close to 50,000 votes. Oh, maybe more like 40,000 votes. 1% of the entire Atlanta metro area is around 40,000. Like, including the suburbs, that's around 40,000 votes. If you spec 40,000 votes onto both candidates, that can secure them a victory.
Little note, Dooley County is blue right now with 72% reporting, although I think Republicans are going to flip that one.
What county did you say?
Dooley, which is a Republican plus 6 county.
Oh, wow, that is big. Those might have been the early votes, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, and I think the rest of it is probably going to be in person.
Yeah, I can't. It was like I saw Joe Manchin, a meme about Joe Manchin, and I think it was, what was it again? I think I might have saved it to favorites. Hang on, let me take a look at this for a second. I'm gonna go on mute.
Okay. Antonio, we're gonna ask you for your hot take. Since you've officially, this is your second live stream. You are by definition a seasoned election expert. So, what are you thinking right now? And we can go to you, Zach, as well.
For my hot take,
Yeah.
I'm really not quite sure. The more that I think about it, it'll take me a little while to develop it.
Yeah.
Because like my original hot take, I've long since taken back after everything that's happened. So I'm you might need to give me like a couple minutes to really like think about any possible scenario. Because honestly, I guess my hot take would be that actually no, that's not really a hot take. That's pretty widely accepted. Yeah, you're gonna have to come back to me on that.
You want me to explain the Joe Manchin thing?
Oh yeah, give the nice little segment on Joe Manchin.
You know when Thanos says now reality can be whatever I want?
Yeah.
Yep.
Joe Manchin.
Yep, Joe Manchin.
Reality will be whatever Joe Manchin wants after this. Yeah. You never know.
Assuming Democrats win.
Justice.
Assuming Democrats
What if you
win.
see? I think the major question is: do you see Joe Manchin pulling a Jim Justice?
Oh God, no. He was talking about how he doesn't understand how anyone could vote for Trump. I doubt he'd switch parties.
Okay, that's a very good thing. But Joe Manchin, at least he held his integrity for most of the term.
I was pissed when Jim Justice switched. I mean, I knew nothing about politics right then, because that was the first time I heard his name. But I was like, what? How could a Democrat switch? And then I looked at Jim Justice, and I was like, okay, yeah, if anyone were to switch, it would be Jim Justice.
He's the most conservative Democrat by far. And by far, I mean he's the most conservative Democrat by 525,600 miles.
That's wow.
You know 525,600 minutes?
Yep.
I just thought of a large.
Oh wow, lot more votes coming in, and they're counting fast.
Whoa, that is 8% has been reported already.
Let us see what the needle says.
Nothing new. The needle is going for Warnock and Ossoff.
He has gained an entire 1/10 of a percentage point since I last checked. Wow. Really great.
I have a question.
Yeah.
No, so are they, so when are they going to count the mail-in ballots? You know, there's probably...
They count absentees last. I don't know this for sure, but I think so because they were talking about how they still had to count the DeKalb, the Chatham County, all those absentees, when it was looking really close. If you guys remember, there were some doubts about if Biden could win Georgia because Fulton, I believe, was at 98%, Cobb was at 98%, DeKalb was at 98%, all the Atlanta metro counties were at 98%, Biden was still behind. And they were talking about how this last batch of absentees would make the difference, so I'm assuming they're going to count those last. Oh, and Ossoff just got a boost.
I think that hopefully is that Raffensperger and the Georgia Elections Committee, they've improved the way that they count votes, so it doesn't take like the snail pace that it took last time.
Oh my God! Well, because they counted most of the votes pretty early, but
votes don't flip. They don't find 2,000 votes that were miscounted.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's just absurd. But
Georgia is not known for their competent election methods.
And I think Trump tried to exploit that with the call. I mean, I saw a New York Times op-ed that said we should impeach Trump again, and I'm like, come on. He's got 15 days left in office. He's just 2 weeks in office.
And Webster County, which is one of the rural Black Belt counties, has shifted, I believe, 6 points more Republican since.
that ain't good. But it also went for Trump, and
yeah, it did.
it went for Trump. So, I mean, it went for Trump.
Early County, Raphael Warnock is still in the lead. That lead has shrunk quite a bit.
Let's basically at this point, we just gotta wait. There's only 350,000 votes that have been tallied at this point. 350,000 is not a lot considering there's an electorate of possibly 5 million.
Yeah.
I just have one question for the both of you.
Yes.
What are your hot takes regarding the situation? Because I don't really think we've discussed.
My hot take is that even if Warnock and Ossoff win, that they're gonna slip in some counties in the Black Belt, as we saw with whatever county it was.
I don't have. Basically, my hot take is that if Warnock and Ossoff win, then Joe Manchin's going to be the most powerful person in the entire country.
That is not a hot take, Ian. That is a fact.
Yeah.
Well, that's disputing Joe Biden being the most powerful, or Kamala Harris. I saw something really funny. It's January 21st. Joe Biden passes away. Kamala Harris. Oh no.
Let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah,
basically the whole joke is that Kamala Harris is just waiting for Biden to, unfortunately and under no mysterious circumstances possible, pass away. So
I've seen those jokes.
Yes, on TikTok they won't get off my For You page, and it's
the
like,
TikTok.
Go away, please.
I cannot listen. At this point, I'm not a religious person, but I am praying. Because at this point, if Biden hopes to get anything done, then he's going to have to go through Mitch McConnell.
Yeah.
Then Mitch McConnell said behind closed doors in a secret recording that he doesn't care if Hillary wins. He will block every single bill she puts forward. And said this whole Antonin Scalia thing. He didn't care if they were missing a seat on the Supreme Court for 4 years. He just never let a nominee get through.
Yeah, McConnell, he's definitely like the biggest challenger to any sort of law.
He's the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah, basically. If Biden doesn't
cartoonishly evil.
Yeah, if the Democrats don't have the he can't really get much of anything done, especially not progressive policies that might.
Mitch McConnell is. Here's the thing. A lot of people think that Mitch McConnell is a product of his time. I think that this time is a product of Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, I would agree.
That's a good way to put it.
Because a lot of people say, oh, Mitch McConnell, he's just a product of the Gingrich era. No, Newt Gingrich was a saint compared to this man.
Oh,
Newt
God.
Gingrich would have never even fathomed just not letting a Supreme Court justice have a hearing. He never could have fathomed that. Newt Gingrich bringing it for a month and a half, from a president who definitively lost the elections, baseless election fraud claims. He never would have supported that. I get that Newt Gingrich was an early supporter of Donald Trump. Yet had Newt Gingrich, had this Donald Trump, if this was the 2000 election, for example, and George Bush was trying to throw about claims of election fraud, he never would have supported this. Newt Gingrich never would have supported claims of election fraud, especially from an incumbent.
Yeah, the whole Mitch McConnell was a product of his time argument is not a particularly strong one, especially knowing what we know now about him.
I would say that the state of American politics, with the hyperpolarization that we're seeing today, is in no small part due to him. I'd say actually a large portion of that is actually due to his obstructionist policy in the early days of the Obama administration. Because, you know, Obama couldn't even get control of his own Senate caucus, right? And if he couldn't do that...
I think he couldn't get control of his own Senate caucus was bad.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I don't understand why he couldn't get control of them.
Because there was like a bajillion million conservative Democrats. There was Ben Nelson in Nebraska who was like, I'm pretty sure he was opposed to gay marriage. So he was quite conservative. We had Mark Pryor in Arkansas. We had a bunch of others. I believe Kent Conrad in North Dakota was quite conservative. Max Baucus was conservative. He was, I believe, anti-gay marriage as well. I'm trying to remember. Who else would?
Lieberman?
Who? Oh, Lieberman. Yes, Lieberman is like one of my least favorite politicians, I'd say.
Remember when McCain was thinking of a joint ticket with Lieberman?
He would have won, I think.
No, he would have won. Sarah Palin really sunk his chances.
Yeah.
I believe after that election, McCain said that he regrets choosing Palin and would have gone with Lieberman instead.
Mm-hmm.
Good. He
I
should.
would too. It was a smart option. It was a very smart pick, and it really showcases McCain's strengths.
Yeah.
McCain's strengths of being a moderate, a bipartisan moderate.
Ian, you missed the earlier discourse. In 2022, I was talking about how Sarah Palin might challenge Lisa Murkowski. And with their
Sarah
jungle
Palin
primary,
might challenge Lisa Murkowski.
we could have a jungle primary where it's Murkowski versus Palin in a runoff, which I think we can all agree Murkowski would win there, because she'd have a big portion of Republicans and all the Democrats.
Seem that off, especially a figure as polarizing as Sarah Palin, who is considered a major idiot that gave way for Obama. She is hated by the Republican Party for basically being the Hillary Clinton of it.
She isn't adored by Alaskans either, because apparently, from what I've heard, is that she made a fool of herself, essentially.
Yeah, she made a fool of herself, and they hated her for it.
Yeah. We do have Lanier County is more than 98% in, and that is a 3-point shift towards Democrats from 2020.
Okay,
That is very good. Is that where
Rural
is that?
county with a hell of a lot of white people, from what I'm gathering.
Where is Lanier County?
It is South Georgia, right above whatever that is. There's this one blue county on a sea of either unreported or red counties.
And I have an update. So for Purdue versus Ossoff, so they are reporting with 11% in, and that's estimated. And so far, Ossoff is winning the Electoral College and is ahead.
Electoral College? That's not a thing in this election.
Oh, it's not? Okay. Well,
Electoral
he's
College
winning.
is a thing only in the presidential election and not a single other election in this country.
Oh, okay. Then Warnock's winning.
Oh, the needle has moved it to
Democratic,
tilting Warnock.
Things are winning.
Blue.
Which
But again, it's way too early.
Good.
The needle just shifted. It is
Yep.
now 55% Ossoff, and it's tilting Warnock. It is officially tilting Warnock.
Turner
This
County.
election means a lot.
We have a.
It could totally
Oh,
change
sorry.
the Senate, and what? Oh, sorry. And like what laws get passed for like 4 years. I mean, it really needs like if it's more Republican, maybe like or if it's more Democratic.
A tiny.
Really like.
One of the most important non-presidential elections that we've had in years.
Guys, I think we have something to take a look at in Murray County.
Oh, what do we got?
Murray County, a very Republican county in North Georgia. Turnout is low for the
Oh
Republicans.
wow. Well, it's only.
60. Hang on. Let me explain something. 61% has of the votes are in Murray County. However, there are only 6,000 Republican votes. Compare that to.
Oh my
David
God.
Perdue. That means that over 2,000 possible Republican voters in that county did not turn up today.
A tiny note for you guys that you might find interesting. Turner County, which is another one in South Georgia, it voted for where the hell is it? Oops, I'm not supposed to say cuss words. It's 98% in, more than 8% in, and we have a 5-point shift, more Democratic than November.
Turner County, I'm going down to it. Turner County, Republican. Wow. Hang on, is this the 2020 results? Yes, that is a 5-point shift. That is a 5-point shift.
Yeah, and
that
actually,
is very
it
big
cancels
news.
out Webster, so
Wayne
that's good
County,
for us.
Upwards of a 6-point shift for Democrats.
Where is this?
Wayne County, 91% in, 6-point shift.
Wow. All right, that's why the needle is
Macon
probably
County,
turning.
79% in, 5-point shift for Democrats.
Oh, it moved back to flip a coin, by the by, as more
Oh
rural
my, Early
counties.
County's at 82%. That's a 21-point
never mind.
shift. It's already at 82%.
And Warnock appears to be doing better than us.
0.7% in as of now.
So remember how we said that they should be sweating right now? That back when we were taking out the results from Webster County, that Ossoff and Warnock were probably sweating. think we have to
It
look
was not Early County. It was near Early County. It was.
No, we have to take a look at.
It was Webster. Webster County was the one we were talking
Let's take
about.
a look at the Leffler and Purdue campaigns. They are definitely sweating now, taking a look at these results.
Yeah.
And how, with a lot of the votes in, there has been major shifts against them. And I think a lot of this can be explained to the plus 11 in, let's go down, plus 11 in Wayne, the plus 11 in Early County, with 82% in. That's probably a lot of the Trump voters who, I mean, do you think we can call Early County at this point with plus 10 for Ossoff and 82% in?
Early County? No way. Because that 20% is probably going to split, like, very heavily.
Wow, and Lauren McDonald is 82 years old.
Wow. Dude needs to retire at this point. Like,
yeah, no, she does. She's probably running because of Trump.
It is a he, it turns out.
But yeah, wow, this is very big. But with Early County, a lot of those voters that might not have turned up were probably the Trump voters that believe that, hey, what's my vote worth anyway if this election is rigged by the Democrats? And if the voting machines have been tampered with, like our dear leader says,
we do have a little update, so I'd like to go over that if we can.
All right, what is it?
I will give it to y'all in a moment. Oops. Oh no, we already scrolled all the way down. Ruh-roh.
Oh, we have DeKalb County is less than 1% in.
Yep.
Clayton County, wow, 27% in.
We've not updated the vote totals. I forgot about that. My apologies. However, we do have a new key race alert. The Georgia Senate race, we have moved it from too early to call to too close to call. This was a unilateral decision because we've only used panels for calls, not for changes from too close to too early or too early to too close. We've done the same thing in the Georgia Senate special election. The race is now too early to call between Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler and Democrat Reverend Raphael Warnock. Too close to call as well in the Georgia Public Service Commission. Although not stated here, Daniel Blackman has a lead. He's outperforming both Warnock and Ossoff last time I checked. This race is too close to call.
I saw someone who said that Kelly Loeffler looks like the Grinch who's about to steal Christmas from all the poor children.
I mean, to maintain the veil of professionalism, I'm not gonna say anything about my personal opinion on Kelly Loeffler.
He has no right to be like. Listen, at this point, this is the special election. This isn't the actual election. The general election, we have to have a semblance of being impartial, of impartiality.
Yeah, well, I mean, the issue with that is that most of the people watching, this is one of the smaller streams. Like, at the other one, I can see people I don't really know watching. This one, it's probably just like a couple of people I know pretty well. So it's like, it's not like they're not going to know.
Because there are 5 viewers. How many of us have the stream on?
I do not.
I do.
I'm about to.
Okay, no. So none of you guys have it. That means we have 4 legitimate viewers. Hi to you 4 viewers. Pleasure to meet you.
I'm betting one of them is my grandmother. One of them is my aunt. One of them is... the other 2 are probably, like... Who are the other 2? It's a good question.
Michael? No.
Possibly. It might be someone.
Mikey might have joined for a little bit.
Yeah, it's possible.
Wow, this is... also, Warnock is... major voice crack. Warnock is still outperforming Ossoff by a little bit. And I think that my prediction of if it was one of them was going to win, it was going to be Warnock, I think that is holding true. And DeKalb County is 27% in with a 4... Looks like they're beating Biden's total by 4 points right now.
Okay.
Honestly, I feel like we should have seen the Warnock slightly outperforming Ossoff coming because I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong here, that Warnock did considerably better in comparison to Loeffler than Ossoff did in comparison with Purdue in the first round.
Well,
I mean, also the Democratic ticket wasn't as split as the Republican ticket. So, I mean, let's look at Kelly Loeffler is by far the better candidate for Warnock to be going up against. Let's be realistic.
Oh yeah, well, because Kelly Loeffler has a problem. She is considered very out of touch. If you saw her rally, she said "y'all" like 400 times because she was trying to like get in with the working class, even though she's a billionaire,
She's
she's
a legitimate billionaire. Her husband, for those of you who do not know, ran the New York Stock Exchange.
yeah. So they have money.
Like, her husband is the epitome of Wall Street, the epitome of the elite, the epitome of everything Republican voters hate. They hate Wall Street, the elite, the swamp, the establishment. They hate her. Fox News ran just a massive hit after hit campaign onto her April and May prior to the primary. They were saying she's only been there for a few months, and she's only been in the swamp for a few months, and she's already shoulder deep in it. Though that was an exact line from Janine Pirro. I think that Republican voters just are less enthusiastic about her. But also Randolph County, and that is looking like Randolph County is looking like they are underperforming Biden by less than 1% right now, but they are outperforming their previous total by 1%. So that might be good.
I'd like to add on to your point about Republican voters in Leffler. While I do agree that, given the things that she represents, Republican voters might be less enthusiastic about her. I feel like a good amount of Republican voters are also kind of looking at the bigger picture here, because, again, I feel like we've done a very good job of establishing just what this election means. So I feel like the Republicans, or at least a solid chunk of them, are more focused on trying to make the Republicans keep those seats in the Senate, as opposed to their
And
opinions.
it is extremely valid because the Loeffler and Perdue campaign has basically been, hey, you don't vote for us, the radical left will control the Senate.
Yes, Joe Biden, famous for his radicalism.
It's like a radical liberal Raphael Warnock, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, radical liberal Raphael Warnock, radical liberal. Like, they hammered that in order to get their base to look at the bigger picture, because they know that if their base doesn't do that, then they are out for the count.
The bigger picture isn't really what they're both leaning on, but the thing is, it really is a strong argument that they can make towards their base, and that's why they're doing as good as they are.
If you don't mind, I'm gonna pitch in here because I saw something from a credible source, a reporter who said that right now Warnock and Ossoff are both outperforming Biden in terms of absentee ballots in I believe it was either Fulton or DeKalb County.
You should see Kelly Loeffler. She always looks like the Grinch.
Ian, remember what we said about CNN commentators and how we...
I know I shouldn't be saying that. I shouldn't.
Whatever.
But, let's be realistic.
Okay, Ian, you know what? If we really want to be full CNN, we have to bring Ethan back, and we have to get like a really out there Trump supporter and just have them fight on the live stream.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Let's think of. And do we have any crazy Trump supporters in our school besides
I have conservative family members.
Okay, well, Anton, I don't want to be yelling at your family. That's the idea.
We don't really have many Trump supporters in our school.
We
I
probably do.
don't think we have a single Trump supporter in my entire grade.
I think there's a couple, but I don't know.
At least one.
Marco. I know that
Marco.
Marco Buglione supported Trump back, I think, freshman year, as far back as freshman year.
He supported him in
I
16,
don't know
I know.
what his opinions are now.
Yeah, I wonder, how many people in our school are actually more concerned... Oh, sorry to interrupt my little TED Talk about the politics of our school. Crisp County is 95% reporting, and we have a 10-point swing from the general.
I'm scrolling down. 95% crisp. Wow, 11-point swing.
Yeah,
That is huge.
that is big. That is very
I think that
significant.
might be very indicative of how this night is going to go, with large swaths of Republicans feeling that their vote wasn't worth it. And that might actually... So, a couple things that I didn't mention prior was that there have been independent Democrats, so Democrats independent of the party, of any campaigns, spreading on social media things under fake accounts saying, don't vote if you really support Trump.
Oh, yeah,
President
I've seen
Trump.
those.
All of that. On Facebook, I have seen large amounts of groups in like Georgia towns be infiltrated by Democrats who supposedly live there and are Republicans, say don't vote if you support President Trump, and who knows if that's had an impact? Because if that has actually had an impact,
that would just
that would
be
be very
hilarious.
nice. But I'd like to harken back to Ohio and how the night looked very good for Joe Biden and how it looked like it was his race to win in Ohio. And then how
then everything went right downhill.
It all went to HE double hockey sticks if we still have to keep
It all went down from there. We have to wonder, is that same thing going to happen in Georgia tonight?
Another note, there is another county with like 98% of the vote reporting. I'm going to see if I can find it again. Ben Hill County, a 3-point shift towards the Democrats. And that is another middle of nowhere.
Yeah. I'm looking at these shifts, and the one we saw at the beginning of the night, Webster County, which shifted for Purdue. That is the only one on this list that shifted for Purdue, besides Franklin County, which has shifted 0.4 for actually, they might not have even shifted for Purdue. That might have been the exact same. And then we go up to the, what's it looking like for Warnock instead? And then Warnock, the shift was greater in some cases. Let's look at Franklin County. Yeah, it's shifted for him in Franklin. So Webster, funny thing is that Loeffler actually is greatly outperforming Purdue's shift in Webster County. However, in majority of other counties, the shift is still there, where Warnock is doing better, and Warnock is doing better than he did first time around.
Yeah.
And what happened first time around is very interesting to look at.
Dave Wasserman seems to think that Democrats are favored. Just a note, he is a Cook Political Report guy.
How many times has he gotten stuff right?
Well, I mean, he's pretty good generally.
So you know the Keys to Victory guy? What's his name?
No, I mean, you're gonna have to be a bit more specific.
So there's a former professor who created the 13 Keys to Victory. And
oh, that guy. Yes, I don't think he does Senate races, unfortunately.
He doesn't do that in races, but I wonder what he'd think.
I wonder
because
too.
He's been right with every single election except for Bush v. Gore because he didn't predict the Electoral College in Bush v. Gore. Now he does.
Yeah, smart man. And he kept a streak this year, so we're gonna have to factor his predictions into our models, I suppose.
Whose predictions?
Mr. 13 questions, whatever.
Yeah, I mean he always gets it right. He's gotten it right every single election. He was the only major predictor that said that Trump would win.
Oh.
And he got it right. He got it right. Big support. Adam Nagurney says there's big support among Georgia voters, 74%, for requiring people to wear masks when people are around outside the home. That is unrelated. That has to do with Loeffler and Purdue who've also been against wearing masks. And Nate Cohen said that Democrats are faring far better. They're faring, quote, a hair better than expected in the absentee vote. The big question is the election day vote, and we still have very little of it. That's actually a very good point.
Yeah, that's very true.
One place that we haven't seen yet is Bibb County. That has not come in, and that went substantially for Biden, and also went substantially for Ossoff and Purdue. We have to see how they're doing in Bibb County, because the results are now coming in from Fulton, Cobb, Clayton, DeKalb. Not actually Cobb yet, but yeah, they're all coming in from there.
Yeah, no, nothing from Cobb.
Nothing new is coming from those counties, which surprises me. But the fact that nothing really new has come in, and across the board, Warnock and Ossoff are outperforming, is a very good sign for them. And if I were them, I would be extremely hopeful.
Yeah, but again, I'm still very hesitant to make any sort of bold predictions here, because again, we've referenced Ohio multiple times, but you got to keep in mind that's still very much a possibility. There's a reason why we keep referencing it. There's a reason why we referenced Florida earlier in the stream. Just because things look good an hour in doesn't mean that things are going to turn out good in the end.
Yeah. Good for Democrats, you might want to add.
I need to be politically correct there.
Yeah.
Literally.
I mean, unfortunately, I think it's beyond question that all three of us are either Democrats or Democratic leaning. You know, it's like
I'm pretty sure we both admitted to that in the last.
I did. I I
I do.
announced that I was a blue dog Democrat, which actually means, since that makes me a centrist, that means I'm able to have multiple perspectives, not just in policy, but also in election predicting. That's how I like to phrase it.
That's literally your Twitter handle, I believe.
It is. It's actually I changed it to New York Blue Dog, but
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, check out our Instagram page.
Oh yes,
my
I saw that.
Instagram page.
Thank you for this shout out.
Tune in, guys, to
I saw that.
Harrison Life 12 and watch us, which you
Yeah.
already are doing. Thank you so much.
Yes.
for tuning in.
Thank you very much.
The participation
watch.
on this stream is not quite as good as the 2020 general election one, but we have like 6 viewers, which is decent.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
That's acceptable. I'm hoping we'll get a few more. I forgot to promote it on my Twitter. So oh well. But
You think that guy who utterly ratioed you would watch?
Oh yeah, that was the 90-to-1 ratio. Oh god.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
By
man.
the socialist MMA guy, that was painful. That really hurt. I just
Actually, this is very important. Democratic strategists are apparently very worried for some reason, even though everything seems to be going their way. A progressive strategist texted Matt Flingheimer, a New York Times reporter, saying, "Ugh, here we go again." And seems like they're very worried about this. They're very worried. And while that does surprise me, I think we should start factoring that in. If Democratic strategists who know more about this than us are worried, and they know like how this is going to come in more than us, then we should factor that in, and we should, maybe start looking at Ohio again.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that when you saw it's rural counties are swinging towards the Democrats, which did not happen in Ohio. So I'm not saying I personally I think the race is a coin flip at this point, honestly.
Yeah. I've been thinking it's a coin flip this whole time.
Yeah.
And I feel like going back to this is why I'm going to go back to what I said one more time, because I've always felt like it's been throughout this entire stream, it's been way too early to make any sort of concrete calls, and you never know. We're not even close to half of the state having finished reporting. There's no real concrete evidence for either way. Things could still go either way. I say it's still anyone's race. And
yeah, I agree. Ian, I would like to add. I saw the thing with the progressive strategists as well. Something that I would like to add is that they said here we go again, hope, which means they are hopeful, which means it's not like they're like, oh crap, we're screwed. We are in imminent doom. I think they're just getting nervous.
I hate is back. Hope. So.
I think it's more of a I don't want to get my hopes up than anything else.
That message actually might be correct. That they're saying we don't want to get our hopes up, rather than us.
We are in imminent danger of losing this election
as the stuff comes in. So that is a very interesting thing for you to point out. But 96% has reported in Oconee County, which is a 4.5% swing. Hang on, Oconee, that is okay. The same.
McDuffie swings 2 points to the left. Candler's
2 points, not that much, but not that little either.
Wayne is 0.8 to the left. Lanier is 3 points. Bacon is 0.2 to the left. Yeah, so some smaller.
Yeah,
swings.
Baldwin with 83% reporting has swung 10 points to the left.
Wow.
And Douglas County, 81, 10 points. Macon County, 80%, 3 points.
And yeah, they're still counting up in early. Columbus hasn't really reported a lot of votes. Same with Chatham County, which is Savannah. Athens is not really reporting too many votes either. We have sort of... I think DeKalb has made some progress in counting. Henry has also.
Also, according to Jeremy Peters, in a recent AP survey today, more voters seem to think that Ossoff and Warnock are less progressive. They're more extreme, shall we call it, than Democratic voters think of Loeffler and Perdue. They find them less radical than Republican voters find the Democratic candidates. So it appears that Loeffler and Perdue's strategy has worked at least for Republican voters. We don't know how it's worked on independents, though.
Yeah, and obviously on Democrats, because the reality is that John Ossoff, and I'm assuming by proxy, Raphael Warnock are both pretty moderate, at least for a Democrat, The Democrats, as we all know, are big tent party, and so they actually have room for moderates.
That's changing, I think.
I would argue that despite the increasing dominance of the progressive wings, that they're going to stay a big tent party, especially after wave years where more conservative and moderate Democrats will be swept into office. And I can also see after, once AOC types take over the party and we lose a couple of the Democrats lose a couple of national elections in a row, they'll smarten up and then shift back towards the center.
Well, depends if they smarten up or not.
Well, because that's what happened with Bill Clinton and the New Democrats. So I can see it happening again.
Yeah, you do see that. I do see that happening again too. Bill Clinton, the New Democrats. That was a very good time to be a Democrat. Those 6 years. And also, though, we can't forget Obama. We see him as a major moderate now.
Yeah, and he was quite progressive back then.
More than progressive. He was like. He was the AOC of back then.
I'd argue figures like Dennis Kucinich were more the AOC back then, as opposed to Barack Obama.
I know, because AOC types are legit socialists, but that was back when socialism was a dirty word.
Well, Dennis Kucinich I don't think was a socialist either. He was just, like, extremely liberal and even more partisan than anyone thought possible.
Yeah, I saw something that was very funny. Obama at his press dinner, what's it called, in White House Correspondents' Dinner. He said, quote, "Man, I really miss the times when I was a young socialist Muslim living in Kenya."
Oh yeah, that's funny.
That was a very fun quote of him. He had the best correspondence dinners, and Trump had to cancel that. I wish Trump would have continued the correspondence dinner and just like gone full on maniac funny, because I would have loved to watch that.
That I would have paid to watch that.
Yeah. I have a very interesting analysis that I found from a reporter on Twitter. Is that if Ossoff wins more votes than Perdue, he'll become a senator. But if Perdue wins, he gets another term. This is a very controversial take, I'd say.
Yeah. And speaking of which,
that basically implying that Perdue isn't a senator.
Yeah, technically he's not, but you know what I mean.
You've seen them. Some of Biden's cabinet picks. So I know he picked Pete Buttigieg for transportation. He picked
Tony Blinken for state.
On Morning Joe. Or no. He said something. I don't know.
Janet Yellen was treasurer. Is treasurer.
Yeah.
I heard that pick was somewhat controversial among Biden's fan base.
I'd argue that I think a lot of people were happy to see Yellen, and obviously there were some people who were unhappy with it because you can't please everyone. They're the liberals who, if Doug Jones becomes Attorney General, which I pray every day to God that Doug Jones.
I think all of us here are before Doug Jones becomes Attorney General.
Doug Jones is like perfect though.
Listen, the Democratic Party owes him.
Yeah, and he basically just like
elected in Alabama, the most stereotypically conservative state in the nation. He was elected there, and he did not break. He did not break ranks, unlike the conservative Democrats of the Obama era did.
Yeah,
he did not break ranks, and he voted against even what Joe Manchin did. He voted against Brett Kavanaugh, Amy Coney Barrett, and all of the justices that were the most controversial Senate votes of his time, and he lost for it.
Yeah.
But I think he knew that.
Another county in Johnson, 4 points more Democratic.
Yeah, I feel like the thing that I heard with Yellen, I think that might have been through me scrolling through a bit more of the liberal side of Twitter.
Yeah, she is a deficit hawk, I will say, which is actually good because the deficit is a problem, and both parties ignoring it won't make it go away. But, I can understand. Tony Blinken was somewhat controversial.
Very quick thing.
Among the
Mitchell
far left.
County. That is another big swing. That is currently 18-point swing, although 68% is in.
Okay, yeah,
Only 68% is in. Those are probably the absentee votes. We'll probably see more, and that will definitely shrink.
Yeah.
I don't think that's enough for them to stop that swing that happened. I think that is going to swing like 2 to 3 points for Warnock and Ossoff, which is very good for them.
We have a 3-point swing
2 to 3 points here, 2 to 3 points there, 2 to 3 points here, 2 to 3 points there. They will win.
We have a swing in Glenn County. That is 3 points. Sorry to cut you off there. Where else? Yeah, it's mostly rural counties that are reporting all of their votes right now, I'd like to add.
Also, though, a lot of rural counties haven't reported any of their votes yet. So,
Yes.
the big ones like Banks, Appling, Barrow, Hurd, Hart, Lumpkin, Schley County, Towns County haven't reported any votes, and those are all Republican plus 50 counties.
Yeah.
So Banks is Republican plus 78. So
We also
they
have
haven't
Cherokee.
reported their votes yet. Like they have to. We gotta wait for them to come in. But the New York Times needle, baby, that is tilting for Ossoff and Warnock at this point.
Yeah, that's definitely good, but yeah, I feel like we still need to wait like at least another hour.
My question, something I'm curious about is, who are the voters who would vote for Loeffler but would not vote for Perdue? It's like you have to,
That would be quite interesting.
you have to get a interesting
My
type of.
best guess is the 20 suburban women from Gwinnett County that are doing that.
Yeah. But wouldn't it be like a girl boss moment if Loeffler
Or
won?
the feminists.
Oh wait, yeah, no, that's right. That's the scenario.
Woman in,
Yes.
There are,
Girl
there
power.
are probably 10 or so feminists in the state of Georgia who think that having a woman that is completely against their beliefs is better than not having one.
Yep.
I
Because
think that there's maybe 10 to 20 or so of them.
Ian, I will say I've not heard the Kelly Loeffler is a girl boss take probably ever. So thank you for introducing that to the
Loeffler, the
Discord.
girl boss take. I think that Brian Kemp thought that Loeffler, the girl boss, would secure more than 40 votes extra.
Oh God.
I think the entire theory was that she'd appeal to suburban women.
It was,
Which,
and it looked like she would at one point, but you know, she had the
looks
Doug
like she
Jones,
would,
Doug Jones,
Yeah.
the Doug
How are
Collins.
you going to appeal to suburban women when you're worth over $1 billion?
Well, that's the thing is that before that might have been realistic, right? Because she was viewed as a moderate at one point. You have to keep that in mind. But when Doug Collins came in and challenged her, everything changed because she had to track hard to the right in order to sort of overshadow her scandal regarding insider trading. And I think that has actually damaged her
He
chances.
basically said, if I don't want to lose, what I have to do is give up on all of my morals and
Yeah, pretty much. Oh,
sell out. It's like she sold her soul to the. Many Democrats would argue that she sold her soul to the devil.
She
Yeah.
quite literally sold out.
Dooley County is a 4-point swing. It is just Kimmon. Loeffler has
She's,
won.
she's
Dooley.
She's basically the Ace. She's basically the Ace family. Remember, you know that on YouTube. They make a living off of faking pregnancies and having kids.
God.
I hate those like YouTube families. Like, oh, look at this fun thing. What we're gonna do is emotionally traumatize our kids for life. How is that YouTube dollars?
It's money.
So,
YouTube money.
guys, I think we have to accept the fact that the AP poll is not good because it has Purdue at a lower approval rating than Kelly Loeffler, and
No, the AP poll, David Perdue has a slightly higher favorability ratings than his fellow kid. 50.
oh, I misread that. My bad.
You read that wrong.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's no way that's correct.
Yeah, you said that, and I'm like, I've read the exact opposite, so I had to go check again. But Macon, Bibb County, 69% has reported, with 69%. That is an 8-point swing in Bibb County. That is another one that I mentioned earlier, and wow. Yes, this was the major worry in the week after the election when all this was coming in and we were deciding this race. Tripp Gabriel says, quote, in the first post-November election without Trump on the ballot, some analysis of early voting suggests that Democrats maintained their enthusiasm, especially thanks to black voters. That was the goal of Stacey Abrams. That was the goal of Warnock and Ossoff. And they appear to have achieved that.
Yeah, it's really going to be interesting. It is obviously still too close to call. I think the race is going to end up being close, even if it looks like Warnock and Ossoff might even be the favorites now, I'd say, to win this race.
By the way, I'm just wondering, because we have been discussing this for a while and there's not going to be as many live updates to discuss, I wonder, knowing what you know now about Bill Clinton, would you have voted for him in 1992 and 1996?
Probably not.
I would have voted for Ross Perot.
I don't know, because I'm not really that populist, I would say.
Ross Perot was, how would I consider this? He had the populism Trump had, but he was the moderate version
Yeah.
of it.
He was a centrist populist, like you.
Yeah, he was a centrist populist, pure and simple, and that is someone that appeals to me. A centrist populist would appeal to me. He reminds me actually of an old white Andrew Yang. I know that sounds weird. But do you
Yeah,
see
but
that?
you're right. Yes, I totally do.
Because he appeals to all parts of the political spectrum. He appeals to where Democrats have not been hitting and Republicans have not been hitting, and he had a very good message, and yet he didn't win. And I personally believe that if Ross Perot had won in '96, in '92, or in '96, America would be a far better place today.
Yeah. I think that is potentially true, although it also would have meant the Democratic Party would not be in such a great place today.
Well, I also believe that it would be a much more centrist nation.
You think
great.
so?
And we wouldn't have the AOC types wouldn't exist.
Oh God, can we please go? I just want to go back to 2016
I love how
when.
AOC stripes has just become the code name for far left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. AOC, the progressive wing of the party, was extremely small and basically forgotten until AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Representative Cortez.
I'd say it was 2016 that really kicked it off.
2018.
Because Bernie Sanders sort of brought attention, money, resources back to the progressive wing of the Democratic
Well,
Party.
2016, especially with Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
I say that with 2016, and then after 2016 with 2018, the progressive wing went from the in the shadows, basically overshadowed by the base Democratic Party, the Clinton types.
Yeah.
It went from that to the party.
Yeah, I'd say the New Democrats are still technically the party because they control.
There's
leadership.
four or five of them. Now there used to be I know AOC was new in 2017. Ilhan was new in 2017.
Yeah, 18, not 17.
Or what?
It was 2018, not 17. It was just a
2018.
Oh, also a lot of rural counties have fully reported.
That's right. Wilcox is a 6-point shift.
McDuffie County, small switch. Look for switches.
Twiggs.
Rabun County, 3-point switch.
Twiggs County's 4-point shift towards Ossoff. Washington
But
County, 4
another
points
one
to
is
Ossoff.
Brantley County actually is a point shift towards Loeffler, which is surprising. But let's take the Ossoff. Let's check out Ossoff. Also, Brantley County is basically less than like a 0.2 shift. Okay, so appears that rural white voters are voting more for Ossoff, who they view as a centrist, than Warnock, who they view as a radical.
And we have a lot of Fulton that is in now. It appears that
Washington County, that's a flip. That is a 3-point flip. 4-point flip, actually. Wow.
Oh wow, yeah, you're right.
That is big.
I missed
That
that.
is a very small county, but it flipped. That is very big for the Democrats.
It flipped. Biden won Washington. Just a note. Biden did win Washington County.
Washington County is a major harbinger for what is to come. Let's see if did Biden even win Washington County?
Yes, by like less than a percentage point. If I
they outperformed Biden. That is official news. John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock are outperforming Joe Biden
in one
rural
county.
counties.
Keep it. It is one rural county with a
No, they're
substantial black
outperforming him
population.
across the board in rural counties. Let's
Yeah.
admit it this way.
Yeah, well, because I think that's the turnout. I'd argue, I was reluctant to subscribe to the GOP turnout's going to suck because of Trump theory. But so far, from what we've seen, it's still very early. But what we've seen in rural counties is that turnout they're closer, not necessarily because people are switching over, but just because turnout is not as great. I mean, that's.
I'm going to set my alarm tomorrow for 7:30 because I don't want to wake up before then, like I've been waking up earlier. So
when do you have your first class?
7:50. I've been waking up at 7.
Wait, I'm sorry. How do you sleep till 7:30 and still make it on time for class?
Tomorrow's Wednesday.
Oh yeah, wait,
Oh.
tomorrow's a Wednesday.
Oh yeah.
Also, I could, if I wanted to, wake up, quickly get dressed, leave the house within 10 minutes, and make it to my first class.
Oh God.
You want to know where I live, James? Do you want to know where I live?
Sure.
Do you really want to put this publicly on?
Yeah, that's something to
I
keep in
live.
mind.
Okay, they don't know where we're from. I'm just gonna tell you. I live less than a 3-minute walk from the school.
Okay, yeah, I'm just saying they have heard us talking about the precincts in our town and naming that town. So, just saying.
You may regret leaving.
Here's the thing. If they wanted to, they could trace your IP. And if
Yeah,
they
that's
trace your
true. I
IP,
mean,
they
if
can
they
hack
really
this
care
movie
that
and
much.
then trace our IPs. So if they're really gonna do that, they might as well put in all the effort.
Yeah, honestly. God, just such a messed up conversation.
Yeah, so this is what I try and do. Doesn't always work, but I try to do. So I have my Alexa. Oh yeah, now it's on. So this is what I do. So I have on like these like virtual days and sometimes like Wednesday, I set alarm for 6:35 every 5 minutes until 7. Then my Echo and like.
Oh, big news! Fulton County is 82% in.
Yep, I saw that.
Then I said
Fulton
that
County is 82% in. It is 74% Ossoff. That is outperforming Biden by like a few percent.
Yeah.
Let's check out how it is for Warnock. Like
Warnock is now at 63% on the needle and plus 1.1%.
Warnock, wow. Warnock is outperforming Biden by 3% in Fulton County. DeKalb, 87 is anything new in DeKalb? Nothing new in DeKalb, but Fulton had a big dump that is major. Clayton County too. Whoa, that is. Clayton County is a plus 80 for the Democrats.
Oh wow, yeah. Well, Clayton County is quite blue.
Yeah, but that's still outperforming Biden by 5 points. And
yeah.
On the needle, Warnock's at 63 and Ossoff is at 58.
More than 5 because the margin is different. It is a 70-point margin, as opposed to whatever it was last time, which was not only is Loeffler getting a smaller vote percentage than Trump, but Warnock is getting a larger vote percentage, and so there was a yeah. So yeah, the difference is larger.
Yeah. But yeah, like we're up to 40% of the votes counted so far, so things are definitely looking good for the Democrats.
Yes. Keep in mind though, we said the same thing about Ohio. So
yeah, again, we are not even halfway done counting the votes.
And I think we can all agree
Ohio
we are
is far more in than 40% of the total votes been counted. Ohio was like 70%, and we were like, look at the Democrats, they're gonna win. But
yeah, it is very important to keep in mind that we are not close. I think there's a consensus here. The panel is not close to calling any of the 3 races we're covering.
Yeah, no, our panel is also keep in mind to our few viewers. We are not CNN. We are not the New York Times.
We're fast and we're right.
The Associated Press.
Yeah, man.
We are not Fox News. We are not MSNBC.
Definitely not Fox News.
We are. Well, you see, Fox News, they actually have very good election calling. They called Arizona night of.
Yeah, remember, we called Florida like several hours ahead of the major news networks.
We called Oregon.
Yeah, that was good on us, but yeah, basically.
Yeah, we called Oregon before the polls closed.
We called what?
We called Oregon accidentally before the polls closed.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? Anton, you were speaking.
You guys called Oregon an hour before the polls closed, if you remember.
Yes, we did.
Yep. that was funny.
Great.
We called the state before the polls closed. Yeah, I remember that. That was a good moment. But
yeah, and we were right. So technically,
It's time for me to represent. I gotta represent. So
What are you doing? Oh, I forgot my weld button upstairs. I shouldn't wear it. Gotta be impartial.
Time for me to represent.
Okay,
Representation.
I think Ian has just given up on the nonpartisan
Yeah,
commentary.
I've given up on not being partisan at this
You know
point.
what? We'll have you in as our Democratic strategist next time. How about that?
Yeah, where is it? Where are you, buddy? I think it's in the hamper. Because I think I wore it yesterday. It's my Biden-Harris shirt, baby.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. This really is CNN.
Okay, not gonna lie. I also have a Biden-Harris shirt, and I have a Kasich shirt, and I have 2 Yang shirts. So, what do I really stand for? We'll never know. I have a Jeb Bush button, and I have a Hillary Clinton button.
Yeah, I don't have any sort of merchandise for any political candidate whatsoever.
You're not a big enough political nerd, Anton.
Yeah, I'm not full political nerd like you guys, but also like
I might be a moderate Democrat, but I'm a very enthusiastic one.
Oh yes.
what would you do with like a Trump 2020 flag or a Biden Harris 2020 flag in 10 years?
Wait,
There you are, buddy.
is my Biden flag in the basement? One moment.
Biden Harris, baby. Biden Harris.
I have a flag somewhere. I don't know where it is.
Everyone's showing off their swag.
Well, this is what happens when you do phone calls for Biden. You get these as presents from your family.
I had to pay for mine.
Wait,
Hate
you got
you.
like a phone call from Biden?
I did calls for Biden
I did phone
too.
calls for Biden.
I was never rewarded for my hard work.
I did phone calls for current President-elect Joseph Robert Biden Jr. I did phone calls for him. I did like 50 hours of them.
Yeah, and Ian, when I did phone banking, I'm sorry for using mean language. They literally told me to fuck off. And I was like,
me too.
wow.
At one point, I was talking to this guy, and he's like, Jesus Christ, I keep getting calls from you people. I'm like, sorry, we have very incompetent people here.
Sir,
Don't
you put
take
your
me
list
off
on
the
our
list.
number.
If anything happens, I have taken you off the list, but if anything happens, I've taken you off the list, and that just means that the campaign is screwing up. So, yeah, it's not my fault. I'm taking you off the list, buddy. And I'm just a 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, I'm an unpaid volunteer.
You know the team like Joe, like the thing
Slack.
please help for donations or something, or like
Yeah.
this to 30330 or
Also,
whatever.
Trump, the money, the Stop and Steal election fund, he gave most of it to his kids via an offshore bank.
People on Twitter, for some reason no one can explain, seem to be certain that Warnock and Ossoff are going to win. I would say that is
Certain.
Yeah, that is a pretty stupid mistake.
It's
Especially
like when CNN called it for Claire McCaskill.
You bring that up so often. I go to their I go to the compilation of all of their calls in 2018. I cannot find that. I can find their
CNN,
one.
Claire McCaskill.
Someone is spamming the chat, Zach. So we're gonna have to
Oh, is it Jack?
Yeah,
timeout for
Zach
you.
Scafaro.
That's Jack. It's Jack. I know who he is.
Sorry, Jack, you're in timeout.
Let's see here.
Apparently high turnout in the rural Black Belt.
I don't think that CNN published it though. Here, we could go to the live feed of that night.
That's what I was
sometime
looking
anywhere
at.
from 8 to 9.
This was not CNN. This was like some random dude who just put all the CNN calls into a like 20-minute long video.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could we find the entire CNN stream from that night?
If you want to watch like all 7 hours of it.
No, I'm not watching all 7 hours. What I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll to the time frame between 8:30 and 9:30 and see when Claire McCaskill comes on, because I know they brought her on right after they called for her. So I'm going to you know how you can scroll in the bottom of a YouTube video and see the images under it? I'm going to scroll until I see an image of Claire McCaskill, then I'm going to go before it.
Okay, if you're right, I will admit defeat here. But the only wrong call I remember CNN making was they said Rodney Davis was going to lose, and he didn't.
CNN 2018 midterms stream.
Okay. Make sure you mute your mic if you're doing this on your computer, because we'll get some nice echo.
7 hours, that's NBC. I'm trying to find the entire CNN stream. I cannot find it.
Honestly, I sincerely hope that after this stream, YouTube will come up with an excellent thumbnail like they did for the last stream.
Oh, that was an auto-generated thumbnail. I don't think we're gonna have any quite as worthy moments for. I might start making my own thumbnails in case we don't get any of the. Okay, thank you, Anton.
Yeah, I played the role of Leo James McLaughlin the Fourth.
Yes.
In this production.
Big shout out. He was another guest speaker.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm hoping for later live streams, we can get actually no offense to our previous guest speakers, but politically relevant people, people who hold some sort of position, within either party. Really, I don't mean senators and House representatives.
30 years from now, you will be sorry.
Well, Jake Tapper on my dad met Jake Tapper before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Jake Tapper would never. I mean. Like
He went to,
county and
schools
local people is what I had in
like-
mind.
One of his good friends knows Jake Tapper.
Like if like Paul Feiner, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I did an internship for him over the summer. It was very worth it. It was well worth it. Although it was kind of stressful at first, because my mom was like, "Oh well, James, we learned about this too late, so we can't do the internship."
No, I might
And
actually
I had
be
to
able
apply
get
20
Nina
minutes
Lowey.
before it started. That was great. Really, really quite an experience. But
Maybe I could get Nita Lowey on. Apparently my grandfather knows like Nita Lowey.
I think she's too relevant for this live stream, unfortunately, in the terms of national politics. But you never know.
Oh,
I'm gonna take a look back at Georgia now. Ian, do you see anything? Because I'm not really getting much. That's Screven County is 5 points to the left.
I'm sorry, I'm watching the CNN thing. I'm scrolling through to wait for Claire McCaskill
Oh
to show
my
up.
god!
I'm actually doing it.
I swear that they didn't call it for her. Okay, I'll be humiliated if I'm wrong, but I am like so sure that they didn't call it for her. I wonder how Daniel Blackman is doing. Let's take a look at him. I bet you he's still outrunning both candidates. It is a 10 and 9, respectively.
What time did the polls close in
8. He's actually
Missouri?
underperforming. Missouri is, I think, 8 o'clock poll closings.
Okay, then I'll go to the 7 to 8
Oh my
because
god.
I think it happened right after.
Ian. How could you even call the race for Claire McCaskill? That's my question. Because like other than outperforming in like St. Charles County and maybe some of the other areas, like she did pretty badly in much of the state. I mean, the only reason she got as close as she did is because it was a wave year, and so there's high Democratic turnout in like St. Louis, both city and county, and the Kansas City area. I mean that's about it. I'd say. Same thing for Joe Donnelly. He kind of fell off pretty hard in the rural areas. Just he did well from increased Democratic turnout. Okay. The margin is shrinking for both Warnock and Ossoff, although the needle's actually looking the same for them. I think that's just more Republican counties are coming in. If Democrats are able to defy my expectations and win both of these seats in a runoff, I will be I will be. I'm not gonna say what my opinion is of that result actually, but I will be surprised.
You're
Because
surprised? I would just like, I don't even know what I would do if both Democrats actually won, because I made that hot take earlier and then I had to go back on it.
yeah.
Go back on the hot take. I'm
So
going back, it's like,
my pinned Twitter prediction of Loeffler +3 and Purdue +4 is looking not so hot right now. That was
Like-
using an algorithm, to be fair, that was based off of the 2018 runoff, and there's so many problems with using 2018 runoff trends with this. I think it would be fine for like a boring ordinary runoff, but for this one, there's some, as we can clearly see, there's some circumstances that are changing what it looks like quite a bit.
yeah. Like, since we've thrown being partisan out the window, I would be happy with a 50-50 split in the Senate. So I'm not opposed to Ossoff and Warnock both winning, but I will say I would be very surprised if it happened.
Yeah.
And,
Well, I
and
mean,
many of the things that I've said in this stream would age absolutely horribly.
Early County has voted red. It appears, however, it has trended
Well,
Democratic.
I can find it for you. It was MSNBC, not CNN, but MSNBC called it for Claire McCaskill.
Send me a screenshot.
I will send you a screenshot.
Send it on the group chat.
I will send you a screenshot. Hang on a second. They had Claire McCaskill on. Hang on a second. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh, and should we start taking calls now?
No. We're waiting till 9. We have 9 viewers, by the way, which is
Okay,
I
pretty
know.
decent.
Yeah, we have 9 viewers.
here's I was wrong. I will admit it, James, I was wrong. MSNBC did not call it Claire McCaskill. They called it too close to call, but they had Claire McCaskill on, and Claire McCaskill basically said that she won. So that is why I remembered waking up in the morning being very shocked that she lost.
That's so
after
idiotic.
remembering that they called it. Okay.
How could have she had thought that she was gonna win after Joe Donnelly got freaking trounced like at 30 minutes
Joe
before?
Donnelly got trounced. What time did Joe Donnelly get trounced at?
He was like, I think he was over and done with by like 8 o'clock.
Okay, what state was he again? Please
Indiana.
explain.
Their polls closed
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
early.
How do you think he was going to win? No clue. I think he was probably hopeful because you saw Manchin's numbers.
Yeah, but like Joe Manchin is like Joe Manchin. You know, you can't really compare yourself. Also, Missouri is a lot more similar to Indiana, I'd say, than West Virginia.
Yeah, 100%. It's like, what do you think the chances of Joe Manchin pulling off again in 2024 are?
He is gonna lose by a minimum of like 10 points and a maximum of like 20.
Do you think he even runs?
No, he's totally retiring because he voted for impeachment. He said he doesn't understand how anyone could vote for Trump when like 60% of his state voted for Trump.
How old is he?
He's pretty old. I'd imagine he's in his 70s.
Yeah, so if I were him, I'd just say to my voters, hey, people of West Virginia, I've made a lot of money at this game. I'll write a book. I'll be fine, but I'm retiring. I'm out, baby.
Honestly,
and then that seat just goes up in the wind.
I am heartbroken that Joe Manchin is probably would lose in 2024. He's one of my preferred Senate Democrats.
He's one of my I think he is one of my top 5 favorite senators.
Yeah, I also I like Sinema, Kirsten Sinema, Amy Klobuchar, Angus King. He's technically a Democrat. I love him.
Yeah.
He's great. He is a true king. He's much better than the other Senate independent, in my opinion.
Yo, is your refrigerator running? Because I am. Very slowly. I can't physically run, but I'm running for office.
That is such a wonderful Bernie Sanders impression.
Yeah, that sounded like Bernie Sanders.
Okay, so
You know,
right now, yeah, Ossoff is still winning. So is Warnock. Results are coming in. At this point, what do I say? It's looking pretty good. Well, I wouldn't. Yeah.
Still lots of Republican votes to come in North Georgia.
Oh, by the way, Kelly Loeffler is the first person to actually serve as a female senator from Georgia.
Yeah, the other one served for a single day.
Served for a day. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity.
Oh boy.
Stream to go to?
11.
I'm actually gonna hop off in 20 minutes.
Okay, so I can just, depending on how long, I can just take it solo for a little bit. If you guys can't stay on till 11.
Oh, 11.
I can't stay until 11 this time. Quite frankly, I got homework to do, and they gave us a lot less homework on the night of the election because that was more important than this one.
Well,
Yeah.
also with the election we didn't have school.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true.
it was superintendent conference. Got lucky there.
Well, then I might end it a bit earlier because then we won't have commentary, and I'll just be sitting here by myself.
Yeah, we don't really have much commentary left to say.
I feel like maybe
York mayoral race. Andrew Yang is probably going to trounce everyone in that race. And
I think it
Scott
will be
Stringer-
close. He's had some problems with Jewish voters.
Who? Who has?
Jewish voters.
No, who's had problems with them? Yang or Stringer?
Yang has.
Okay. Well, Scott Stringer, I wonder who they will rather pick. Andrew Yang or Scott Stringer? Scott Stringer's basically a progressive de Blasio.
God, can we
Yeah.
Can we not have another de Blasio, please?
Listen, at this point, all of New York is used to the travesty that is Bill de Blasio. No one likes him. He has the lowest approval rating of any mayor in city history. I mean, it's hard to follow in the footsteps of Michael Bloomberg. It really is. And the America's mayor, Rudy Giuliani, who no one really liked until 9/11, but that's all they remembered him for.
Yeah.
It's hard to follow in those footsteps. But I mean, you could do a bit better than that.
Yeah. Bill de Blasio is just interesting political figure.
Your opinions.
Yes, his 2020 presidential run was also quite something. I will
He
say
had
that.
ran for president.
Yes, he did. He did not do so hot, but he did run for president.
How did it go? I must have missed that.
Oh wow. So just like imagine a presidential campaign that goes really, really awfully, like so terribly. You know, it's like it was a total waste of
Go wrong.
yeah. And then imagine that really bad presidential campaign go like 2 or 3 tiers below that, and that is Bill de Blasio's 2020 campaign.
Yikes! I mean, I never expected him to even get.
Yeah, he got an endorsement from a singular state senator, if I remember correctly.
I highly I would not have expected him to get any sort of major support from anyone.
Oh yeah, he dropped out before Iowa. I mean,
I wouldn't have expected that to go very well at all, but yikes.
do you guys remember when Kamala Harris was in second place in the primary?
Oh my god.
That was a very weird time in mid
Yeah.
2019. Mid 2019, Kamala Harris was ahead.
She never actually led in the aggregate, or got that close. I don't think she got within like 6 points, I believe.
I remember reading an article from BBC on Kamala Harris. I wonder, why did they appoint, hang on, who's the guy that's filling Kamala Harris's seat?
Alex Padilla.
Why did they appoint him?
To what?
Like, why did they appoint Alex Padilla?
Because he would be the first Hispanic senator from California, and he's the Secretary of State of California.
But, like, is he that good, like, of a choice?
Dianne Feinstein's probably gonna like either retire or resign, so they can get
Dianne Feinstein is old.
Yeah, like honestly, she's probably the best we're gonna get out of California from a moderate standpoint for quite some time. But like, she needs to retire.
You think she needs to retire?
She is like not capable. No offense, this is gonna sound really mean, but it has gotten to a point where she's like
You
not
really
capable of doing her job anymore.
You sure she needs to retire?
Yeah. And I don't say this often about like old politicians, but I think she is actually like declined, you know, because she's been forgetting information in her briefings, you know.
Barbara Boxer served for a very long time.
Yeah, but Barbara Boxer is still all there. That's the point, or
And,
she was when she retired at least.
I'm going through the hang on. I'm going through all of the.
Votes have been counted.
Yeah, lots of votes coming in Rockdale, Henry, and Fulton. A lot are left to be counted. Oh, Clayton
Wow.
is.
You know that Kamala Harris holds Richard Nixon's former Senate seat?
I did not actually.
Interesting.
Yes.
I was going through Kamala Harris's seat and I was clicking predecessor, and I got all the way up to Richard Nixon.
A little fun fact is that actually what we saw about the black belt with Webster County appears to be incorrect literally everywhere else in the black belt. Mitchell County has trended 6 points to the left. Early County has trended 5 points to the left. Randolph County has trended 7 points to the left, and Terrell County has trended 5 points to the left. And Miller has gone 2.5 to the left. So this feels like a Pinellas moment, at least with regards to that region of Georgia.
Wow. I'm going all the way back by clicking senator, and I have made it all the way back to 1861.
Oh, wow.
James A. McDougal, the first senator from California. Actually, second senator. William M. Gwynn was the first.
Have you ever gone to like really old elections and just like looked at them just because you're curious?
Yeah, no, I've looked at them before. They're actually very fun to look at.
I saw the 1770s House race. I don't remember specifically what year it was, but that was.
Wow, this is.
Because there was like.
This is really on a knife edge.
There weren't any primaries, And so the administration and anti-administration candidates were all on the same ballot, and it was so weird.
Elbert County, another small county where Warnock picked up 3%. Gwynn County, a slightly larger county, Warnock picked up 2%. We were scrolling through all these 98% ins, and we see 1% here, 2% there, 1% there, 2% there.
Yeah, Clinch, Brantley, and Eccles have all trended right. Not sure why that could just be
We have
because
11 viewers on now.
Oh, we have 11. Wow. Hello, everyone. No justice, no peace. Go Dems. Biden won. Gabe Meisman. Glad you're saying that. We have some valuable input for real. I'm scrolling the chat. Yo, can I be a guest caller? Jack Tufaro. Do you know who this is?
Yeah, I know. He's my grandfather.
will he give valuable input
if
or
he
will?
wants to, Schwartz. Yo, is your guys' school looking at? Yeah. Zach Clinton. Yeah. Let us get on. We have some valuable input. If you want to add them, you can.
Yeah, we'll let Jack on, but if he's problematic.
Okay, let's call on. Okay, guys.
Oh, we got 12 viewers.
Yeah.
I think that this might be on the YouTube recommended page.
Yeah.
Get the number.
I think it might have, because our viewership was kind of bad for most of the night. If we're getting good viewers, I might continue the live stream, even if it's like literally just me.
Wait, should I get the number?
No. Just email him. Send him the email to this.
Okay, okay, I'll let them in.
Okay, great. Thank you, Zach. Yeah. So, Anton, how long do you have? How long can you stay on for?
I got 15 minutes left, personally.
Okay. Tony? You're muted, by the way.
Sorry, 9:30, 9:45 the latest.
Okay, so like an hour.
Yeah, like 45 minutes to an hour.
All right. Yeah.
I would stay on the whole night, but like I'm trying to actually be able to wake up at 7:50 tomorrow for school.
I don't understand how you all get to wake up so late. I have to wake up at like 7 at the latest if I want to be functional by 7:50.
I wake up surprisingly
What about when you're on
early.
virtual?
But
That's true.
like for me, it's either I wake up at 4 a.m., 7 a.m.
Listen, James, when I have to go to school, I wake up at 6:30.
Oh yeah, no, as do I. I'm virtual as well. When I
virtual as well.
when I have to go to school, I'm usually up. Well, because I've like automatic timer. No matter whether I have to or don't, I wake up at 5:30.
Got the bedtime timer, baby. It's nice.
Yeah. Well, normally when
I have a lot of snaps. Okay, that's a lot of Snapchats.
Yeah, my time might actually get a little short. Yeah, my parents are saying it might be time for like just to do some last minute work.
Now.
Yeah. Well, not now, but like maybe I can stay on for like another 15 minutes. But yeah,
Okay.
it's getting kind of late.
Yeah. All right. So we can end this in 15 minutes. I guess. Zach, when is that person joining?
Number?
No. What? Did you email them?
No, they're gonna call when you give them the number.
Oh, okay.
John Ossoff.
James,
I kind of want to see what they're posting.
later.
What did you say?
What?
Well, I didn't hear you. Could you repeat that?
I just give the number now since people have to leave like soon.
Oh yeah. No, if they're gonna join, just give them the number.
What?
I want to see what David Perdue is posting.
Okay, guys. So the number to call. So I'm gonna on the stream. So it's 914-919-0751. For your calls, 914-919-0751. I'm gonna post that on the stream.
Oh, this is a nice post of Kelly Loeffler. It's actually a very nice post.
Oh no.
This is Alan Dunn. He's a veteran who was in the ICU just 10 days ago recovering from COVID. He's today waiting in line to vote for me and David Perdue. That is actually a nice story that she posted. Good for her. She's not the Grinch anymore. She's only half the Grinch. And Raphael Warnock. Reverend Raphael Warnock. I mean, if we compare the follower counts on Instagram, both John Ossoff and Warnock have like 10 times the amount of followers that their counterparts have.
The amount of times that I've seen John Ossoff on my TikTok For You page.
Oh my god. There's so many people fangirling over him.
He makes
kind of funny.
legitimately great TikToks.
Yeah, he does.
Okay, we're going to Jack now.
Great.
Okay,
All
Jack. Okay, Jack, you're on the air.
Also, there are
Yeah.
only 2 nations on Earth that are not self-identified democracies.
2 seconds.
Huh.
No. There's people on. Wait.
The audio's really bad.
Can you pull the
Zach.
number that?
Zach, can you just
pull
can
the number that you're upset?
can you just add him? Can you just send him an email with the link? Because that's gonna give us better. Can you just send him an email with the link to this? Because that's gonna give us better audio quality.
No, I'm just gonna add you to the link.
All right.
All right. Let's see what Black has to say.
I need to. What did you say,
Warnock's
Anton?
chances keep going up.
Okay, guys. So I'm gonna text. So when you call the number, I'll text you the link to join.
Okay, let's take a look. Irwin County has swung left by a 1/7 of a percentage point. Jasper County swings 2 points to the left. That's another very red county. Warren County swings 2 to the left.
Are you looking at the swing map?
Scraven County, yeah.
Is there a swing map for the needle? Shift from November? Yes, there is. Wow, 6.8 in Randolph. Terrell County 5.4. That swing map is very cool.
Yeah.
And over 54% have the votes have been reported.
Zach, if you're trying to say something, you're muted.
8.7 point shift for Ossoff and Randolph, which is bigger. Early County 6.9. Terrell County, like Webster County was the only real county with that. Let's look at Upson County. There's a 5.2% shift for Ossoff. Macon County, Dooley County, Crisp County, Ben Hill.
DeKalb County has exceeded its election day turnout from November 3rd.
More counties are shifting, which is great for their campaign. Like,
Ian, did you hear that?
what?
We're gonna get people I'm saying the link, and then he's gonna forward it with 2 other people. If that's okay.
That's fine.
Okay. Great.
DeKalb
I'm off in
County
15 minutes anyway, so.
has exceeded its election day turnout from November 3rd.
What county?
DeKalb.
Already.
Yeah.
Really? That is.
And that's only 82% in. That's only DeKalb's only 29% in.
I believe so. Oh yeah, I saw.
Yeah, no, DeKalb has not exceeded it even close to yet.
No, I mean what they're saying is that in-person votes, including ones that haven't been counted yet.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Currently, Warnock is blowing Ossoff out on the needle by 8%.
Really? Oh yeah, you're right.
He's doing.
63 to 55.
Yeah, Warnock is looking. He's sitting pretty right now. Ossoff is actually his odds just went up 2% from 55 to 57.
64 to 57. Yep, his odds are going up.
Yeah, we're looking.
This is fun to watch. The Trump campaign is spreading disinformation, saying in a text saying, "Is it true the voting machine stopped today? Stopped working?"
I expect some claims of voter fraud.
I mean, we all expected that. but,
Especially
like,
if they're
come
not,
on.
if it doesn't look like they're winning.
I was under the impression for a while that Trump was doing this just as like a, posturing play. Like he didn't actually believe that he won. He was just doing it for,
I agree with that. I thought that he was trying to save face, given his
like
brand.
save face. I thought he was doing it to save face too. I legitimately believe now that he thinks he won the election.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, the one thing I do love about Trump's Twitter rants is that the comment sections are literal gold.
That's fair. Apparently Randolph County has had a big shift. Let's find them. Oh no, it's actually not that huge. It's only 4 points. I thought it was much larger. But yeah, quite interesting, I must say. Is Liberty County blue? It is. Okay. Alrighty. So.
I can stay on the stream until 9.
Okay, great. Well, that's 8 minutes, but.
I'm just letting you guys know in advance.
Yeah, no worries. So looking forward, we're gonna have a 2021 stream. That means our next scheduled stream is November. We might have one in between then, depending on no, depending on a lot of things, really.
I'm looking through your YouTube page, James, and I'm seeing that your most popular video is a 2017 prediction of Trump versus Biden.
Really?
Yeah.
How many views does it have?
It is like 600.
Really?
678 views. President Donald Trump versus Joe Biden election prediction.
Yeah, I used my very awful recording software on my Samsung. Hey, what's up?
Hello.
What do you guys think on the election?
Anton, would you like to share?
Were you here for the past 3 hours?
Yeah.
I was here for like 15 minutes.
Okay.
All right, then you probably.
We all think that it's way too close to call. Democrats are looking good, but it's way too early. Republicans can pull an upset still.
Yeah, I agree. What are you guys' thoughts on Mark Dietz?
On what?
As a third-party candidate for the seat with Warnock and what's his name? Mark
Lovely.
Dietz.
Third-party candidates are going to have no overall impact.
No, I don't know.
I mean, it's called a runoff for a reason. And
he's getting so good.
already had a bunch of third-party candidates.
Are you gonna do one of those puns?
People writing it Mark Dietz.
Ooh, it says I looked
Give
at
one of those.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing.
I'm not gonna fall for
I
it,
see the
dude.
smile on your face as you're
No,
slowly
I'm just
lowering the
listening
send.
back to
I see
the
the full send sign behind you. I know what you're playing. I know your game, man. You got the full send sign behind you. A smile every single time you say that word. Like, I got a feeling. I got a solid.
Mark Dietz, bro. It's not weird. It's a presidential candidate. Or not, sorry, senatorial candidate, not presidential.
I'm a 2020 president.
See,
Yeah,
you know, I would have believed you, but the thing about runoffs is that it's a top 2 thing, so there are no third-party candidates.
It's like a write-in situation. Like
No, you can't write in.
Yeah, that's a spoiled ballot. They don't
There's
get
no
counted.
write-in box.
They're spoiled because people are writing in Mark Dietz. It's a movement.
Someone explain the joke.
There's no write-in box. If someone wrote a more deeds, then their vote would be disqualified.
Mark Dietz, he's a good guy.
Sorry.
Sorry, man. That ain't happening.
Okay, it won't let me remove him. Oh, well.
I gotta.
Guess this sucks with you.
Before I go and do my homework,
Yeah, we are gonna end it now, I think.
should I watch the Grand Budapest Hotel tonight? Because I kind of wanted to watch that for a while.
Go ahead, Ian.
Guys, in all seriousness, though, do you guys fucks with Raphael Warnock?
No
Yeah,
naughty
I
language.
flex with him.
Yeah,
Flex
what do
with
you
him.
mean?
Cause
I flex with Raphael Warnock.
Yeah. It's not flex, Fox, F-U-X.
FUX. Well, of course, I say it like every single one of us here do, but this is supposed to be an impartial stream. Oh, he left the meeting.
yeah, no, I muted him because he said a no word.
No word.
Don't want to have
not
problems
very
with YouTube.
Not very good.
All right, I think we're gonna end the stream here. Because you guys are all leaving. Well, once you guys have to leave, then we'll end the stream.
Yeah. Okay. But before we go, okie dokie, Asaf, what's happened to your lead, my guy? Apparently, Asaf's lead has crumbled. So,
Yep.
Let's look at the needle for Asaf. Well, it's still tilting for him because 58% of the vote is in. But what happened to his lead?
Well, there's nothing from DeKalb. There's nothing from Cobb. Well, I don't mean
Yeah, that
nothing.
makes sense.
There's a lot
nothing
out from
DeKalb,
Gwinnett.
Really, there's nothing from Gwinnett. There's nothing from Rockdale, actually. Rockdale. Let's look at the shift from November. Rockdale, 4.2%.
In which direction?
Democrat.
Oh yeah,
I
and
think-
Fayette has shifted 3 points to the left
And
as well.
he even outperformed Joe Biden.
Really? In Rockdale?
Outperformed Joe Biden by 2.3%. And same thing with Warnock. Warnock outperformed Joe Biden by 2.7%.
Okay. Yeah. That's a heavily black county, I'm assuming, because looking at the margin.
I'm gonna look it up. Rockdale County.
Well, I mean, when you're breaking the 70s as a Democrat in Georgia, you'd assume there's a substantial black population in the county.
Yes, 58.1% black or African American.
Okay, yeah.
37% white.
So it's minority majority then.
It's minority majority. Let's look though. Gwinnett County. Gwinnett County. I want to see Gwinnett County demographics 2020.
Do we accept Samuel Johnson?
Samuel. Hang on a second.
Yeah, he does. He knows a lot about like this stuff.
Okay, we're taking a risk here.
All right, Samuel Johnson.
Samuel, if you break the
How are you
rules,
guys?
Hi, SJ.
hi,
You're
How
doing
are
great.
you guys?
wonderful.
Pleasure meeting, man. I gotta hop off actually right now, so I'm gonna let you continue with Sam.
Oh man,
I have a minute and a half.
All right,
All right, see you, man.
bye, Ian.
sorry, my camera isn't working actually right now.
All right. Well, what do you have to add to the conversation?
I just wanted to comment.
Oh no.
Okay. Do you have any sort of insights? Like, what are your predictions?
I think that it's going to be a Democrat-controlled Senate. I'm just saying that.
You do? All right. It is looking more likely, I'd say, at this point. I was
Yeah,
initially very
you're
skeptical. But
Yeah, I think that, and then absentee ballots are gonna come in. It could be possible. I mean, it could turn the other way, like it did, like in like at the beginning of this year, like in 2016, like before the election.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
Who's this Mark Dietz guy?
oh.
I don't know what that was.
It was one of those puns, like Joe Mama, you know.
Oh
Here's the
man,
joke. Can you
Well,
explain that before I leave?
if he was running and he was running like on a good note and good policies, man, Mark Dietz got my vote.
Okay. Thanks for that valuable contribution.
Right.
We're gonna end the stream here, I think.
Oh, okay. That was the leave
All right.
anyway.
Bye.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone. So that is the end of our stream tonight. Thank you all for tuning in. We got some pretty good engagement. I think that's about it. So all of you,